to get a leadoff double from Jack Kroom.
So a man in scoring position against Jake Gigliotti. Here's Aiden Evans, second baseman from Cornelius, North Carolina, as that's spun inside with a breaking ball. Evans batting .253, a home run and 8 runs batted in. UNCW, winners of 6 in a row. Northeastern is in uncharted territory for them this season. They've lost back-to-back games for the first time in 2024. Foul ball served off to the right. Ball and a strike here on Evans. You know, just looking through Northeastern's season, they've been so good at avoiding those back-to-back losses. They lost against Delaware in the game that you mentioned, allowed 10 home runs in a very windy weekend down in Newark. And then they lost a tough luck loss on Wednesday against Kansas State right here at Friedman Diamond. This is tapped in front of the plate. Gigliotti waits for it. It spins away from him. That'll make everybody safe. To third base goes Kroom. Evans safe at first on what should be an infield single.
Yeah, what a weird bounce that took on the turf. I think the hop-up initially, had some weird spin on the baseball, and then when it came back down, Gigliotti just didn't know what to do, right? He thinks it's going to come right back at him. He's in position, but no, it actually tails off toward the third baseline, and if you're thinking, watching this from home, why don't you just let that roll foul? Well, the ball stops, so there was no chance instead of just eating it, and now you have to deal with runners on first and third with nobody out for one of the best hitters in the conference in Tanner Thatch.
And we just told you about how hot Thatch has been offensively as they check on Evans at first. Tanner Thatch batting .340 this season with 20 home runs in 37 games, 50 RBIs in those 37 games. He has been so productive, the engine of this Seahawks offense. And he takes a changeup down and away. So Gigliotti in a big-time jam here early. Teams have been able to get to Gigliotti early at times this season, as he misses outside to Thatch for ball 2. The right-hander was not the first choice to be a weekend starter, to be the Friday guy for the Huskies. Paxton, Massachusetts native, started off the season working out of the bullpen and then moved into this role about a month ago. Breaking ball is in there for a strike. But his head coach, Mike Glavin, he likes the fact that he's pitched in a ton of big games, and they weren't necessarily conference games, but last year, just like this year, Northeastern played a really challenging midweek slate, and Gigliotti was the guy who was tapped to pitch in those games. Evens up the count here at 2-2. Sort of seeing what Michael Gemma is doing in that role this year, with Northeastern taking on Kansas State, Boston College a couple of times, UConn, Georgia Tech. And although those aren't conference games, those are all really respectable, good teams, some from power conferences. And Gigliotti was in that role last year. The 2-2 to Thatch is smoked up the middle. That's down for a hit. In from third comes Kroom. Headed to third base is Evans. The throw is airmailed into the dugout of the Seahawks. Everybody moves up a base. In to score Evans as Thatcher moves up to second base. And it's 2-0 UNCW. Tanner Thatch comes through, and then the error makes things a little worse for Northeastern.
Could have asked for a better start if you're the Seahawks, and Tanner Thatch doing what he's done all season long, and that's driving runs. So it will be 1 RBI, and then the runner scoring here in Evans on the error by Sirota in center field. This is what makes this UNCW team dangerous. They're not going to overpower you offensively, but they have some big bats in their lineup, and then you couple that with the great pitching that they bring to the table. It's no surprise that they come into today's action 10-2, and it's also no surprise that Kevin Cobb is out there on the mound right now chatting with Gigliotti just to settle things down, because you're down 2-0 early, 3 batters in. But as we've mentioned, this Northeastern offense is so dynamic that you just settle down a little here. Maybe you even get enough outs, but you bring in another run, you keep it 3-0, and then you let the offense go to work. But this is a big test for Gigliotti at this current juncture to have already fallen down 2-0.
So after the visit on the mound, Alec DiMartino will be the next man up here for UNCW. A double by Kroom, and then back-to-back singles by Evan and Thatch. And a big cut by DiMartino. Coming off a big series against Towson, he was 7 of 12 with 3 doubles, 5 RBIs, 7 runs scored. He also walked 3 times and had 3 steals. He has really come on. He's behind in the count here, 0-2. So Gigliotti got to a 2-2 count against Thatch, but boy, he's a tough out. And I think that Northeastern, if they didn't know that based on the scouting report coming in, they're going to find that out here over the course of these next 3 days. Out of high school by the San Francisco Giants. Now 1-2 on DiMartino.
And the Huskies might be catching this Seahawks team at the worst time because, as you mentioned, they're on a 6-game winning streak, but they're outscoring opponents 56-18 in this stretch, and 2 of those wins are against ACC teams.
1-2 is pulled foul. Yeah, big win against Wake Forest, a Wake team that had really been rolling as of late. They played a neutral site game about halfway between Winston-Salem and Wilmington. They played in Durham, North Carolina at the Durham Bulls ballpark, and it was a very secure win for this UNCW squad after they had knocked off NC State a week before. Breaking ball just droops low. It's 2-2 on DiMartino. Just underway, 2-0 UNCW. And that man responsible for bringing home the 2 runs. Now a 2-2 to the right fielder. Got him swinging. Pulled the string on the breaking ball, and Bazo will throw down to first base. Finish up the strikeout. Thatch stays put at first. And Northeastern and Jake Gigliotti get a very sorely needed first out of the first inning.
Yeah, big out there against DiMartino, and the conversation with Kevin Cobb coming out to the mound to talk to Gigliotti ends up paying off as he picks up the strikeout against DiMartino to get that first out. And it's a big deep breath for this Northeastern team. You get one out here in the top of the first inning now.
Here's Trevor Marsh. 2 for 5 against the Demon Deacons on Tuesday. Slices this one foul.
You mentioned that UNCW, just played at the home of the Durham Bulls. I wonder if anybody on the bus coming back from that game said, I love winning. You know what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
I don't know if any of them are old enough to remember the movie or the reference. 0-1 upstairs. 1-1 here on Marsh, batting .317. That's the 3rd highest batting average on the team. Boy, easy to overlook a guy like Marsh when you've got Thatch and then the way that Kroom has been doing it for 5 years and DiMartino here as of late. 2-1, but the redshirt senior from Asheboro, North Carolina, been a big part of this team. He's on a 7-game hitting streak. Reached base in all but 3 games that he's played this season. Trying to extend the Seahawk advantage. Gigliotti misses outside. Our home plate umpire today is Brian Marine. Randy Rosenberg is the first base umpire, and the third base umpire, Joe Gravina. Veteran CAA crew here this weekend. Good hitters count for Marsh. Guides this deep right center field. Maldonado on his horse. That'll make it past him and Sirota all the way to the fence. In comes Thatch from second base. And it's an RBI double for Trevor Marsh to make it 3-0 UNCW.
Another gap shot for this UNCW team. And a nice piece of hitting from Marsh. Pitch over the outer part of the plate. And ends actually, no, that was more middle there from Gigliotti. And Marsh takes it to one of the deeper parts of the ballpark, so wasn't able to smack it out. But another run in for the Seahawks. And this is big. We've mentioned it already. This is a huge CAA matchup with these two teams coming into the year as the preseason favorites. Northeastern picked first, UNCW second. And, UNCW has done a nice job setting the tone in what is a pivotal CAA series.
And really giving R.J. Sales a great cushion to start his day on. Starter has yet to throw a pitch, but he'll have at least a 3-0 lead. Strike one to Brian Arndt, catcher, batting .244 with 7 home runs. He's driven in 20 this season. And Gigliotti just misses down and outside to the Holly Springs, North Carolina native. UNCW did not get off to the start of the season that they were hoping for. They were just 6-7 over their first 13 games. They've gone 18-6 since. And it was not an encouraging 6-7 start with some of the defeats that they had in there along the way. They started off playing a lot of home games as well. Lost a series at South Alabama. Breaking ball misses up and in. It's 3-1 on Arndt. But they have turned it around under head coach Randy Hood. He's been a part of the program for nearly a quarter of a century, the last 5 years as the head coach. 3-1 pitch is outside, and Gigliotti walks Arndt. So that puts runners at first and second, still only one man out. As Gigliotti is close to 30 pitches, Northeastern bullpen quiet despite the early struggles. And maybe they have to, because Joe, in that game that Northeastern played against Kansas State, they had to use a lot of pitchers, 8 of them, in that extra inning loss against the Wildcats.
And they have to think about the rest of this series, too, the fact that they play 3 consecutive days and might need a lot of arms here against UNCW.
Here's Brock Wills. Takes a changeup downstairs. Wills batting .346 in 8 games that he started.
But to your point about the pitch count here for Gigliotti, that last pitch he threw was his 30th of the first inning. So it's a tough spot right now for Northeastern.
Could use a double play ball. 1-1 here on Wills. And just now the Husky bullpen starts to see some signs of activity, but won't be able to rescue Gigliotti anytime soon. He's going to have to figure out a way to get out of this. Wills, the 7th man to bat. As you get a look at Northeastern, somebody has just gotten up to throw. 1-1 pitch in there for a strike. Good-looking breaking ball from Gigliotti. Went to the Winchendon School. He's a Paxton, Massachusetts native. Pitcher throwing in the bullpen is Will Jones. 1-2 pitch. Pulled on the ground over to the first baseman. It's McGregor, only one play to make, and he taps the pad to retire Wills. Arndt and Marsh move into scoring position, and now with 2 down.
So not a double play ball there, but a big out. One more out, you get out of the inning. And this speaks to my point earlier. With the way this inning started, you settle for 3 runs and then let your offense get to work. And then the big thing for Gigliotti would be to settle down after this, but still has one more out to go.
Number 8 man, the designated hitter, John Newton. Hitting .275, 4 homers, and 23 RBIs. He's got Trevor Marsh over there at third base. Brian Arndt at second. As the sun pops out of the clouds, he delivers strike 1. Gigliotti last year started 8 games. Again, most of those were midweek starts. He also appeared out of the bullpen 15 times. He'd gotten off to a really strong start here this season, and then ERA ticked up a little bit. And certainly after his last start against Delaware, gave up 4 runs in 4 innings after he had pitched a 5-inning, 1-run outing at Towson the week before. 1-1 to Newton. Number 9 man, Kevin Jones, is on deck. It's a critical spot right here. 3-0 looks a lot different than 4 or 5-0, which is what it could be with a swing of the bat here from Newton. time called just before the pitch was a pitch clock violation is the call. So Gigliotti will get charged an extra ball here. It'll be a 3-1 count. You see the call being made there by Joe Gravina out there behind the pitcher's mound. Newton takes ball 4, and they are loaded. Bases full of Seahawks for the number 9 man, Kevin Jones.
And this is a really tough spot for Northeastern, as we've mentioned, with the pitch count. So he's at 38 right now, and where coaches get extremely wary is when they push a pitcher to 40 pitches in an inning.
And they've been mostly high-stress pitches here. Ever since the double to start off the inning from Kroom, it's not like there's been any pressure-free pitches. Strike 1 to Jones. Junior from Rollsville, North Carolina, out of Lenore Community College. Grounds this one to Muzakia. His counterpart, a little stumble, and it goes out of the mitt of Beckstein at second base. Marsh scores from third. Everybody's safe. 4-0 UNCW on what should be the second error by Northeastern in the inning.
That's a huge break for UNCW. They add on another run, another defensive miscue for Northeastern. And I wonder who you give the error to, because Beckstein ended up having that tip off of his glove, but that was a tough feed to get from Muzakia, with the fact that he bobbled it first and then ended up under.
And here is Kroom's second at-bat of the inning, and this will end the top half of the first. He started it off with a double, came around to score one of 4 runs for UNCW. They send 10 men to the plate, and the Huskies behind the 8 ball early, 4-0 with the Northeastern offense about to come up.
As I've watched Alex, you can tell
I'll be right back.
looking at him that he has that focus, that dedication, that expectation of being a success.
I'm always proud to put that jersey on. I'm honestly honored to represent my country.
That's our culture, is to have the uncomfortable conversations and be comfortable in the uncomfortable.
I think it was the best day of my life. I've never really won anything like that before. I've never thrown my gloves on the ice like that.
Like, no doubt in my mind, she is so strong and nothing was going to stop her.
When Rafael Devers got over to third, it was kind of just awesome. I've been watching him for years now, and like, he's one of my favorite players.
I'm sure there was a day Kat thought, I'm never going to be able to play soccer again.
For me, this has just been a really good fit. My family is from this area. My wife's family is from this area. And Northeastern's never given me a reason why I would look anywhere else.
CAA champions are built by commitment, dedication, and courage. CAA champions live on the court, on the pitch, on the track, on the field, and in the pool. CAA champions live on Flow Sports.
Junior right-hander R.J. Sales has been given a comfy 4-0 margin before he starts his day. He's been one of the best pitchers in the CAA once again. After you look back a couple of years ago, he was a freshman All-American. He did not pitch last year. He underwent the Tommy John brace surgery, so not the full-on Tommy John procedure, and he has bounced back in a big way here this season. He's looked just like he did a couple of years ago as a freshman.
Yeah, he's allowed less than 4 earned runs in all but 2 starts this year. He had a blow-up start against Charlotte, but outside of that, he's been very solid for UNCW. Their Friday starter, and now he's got a 4-0 lead to work with.
Northeastern starts off with Luke Beckstein, as they often do. Strike 1 from Sales. Yeah, outside of the Charlotte outing, in which he, against the 49ers, gave up 9 runs and only retired 4 batters. Without that start, his ERA would be 2.1. And he quickly gets ahead of Beckstein, 0-2. Beckstein coming off a 3-hit game against Kansas State on Wednesday. He was 3 for 5 with a walk and an RBI. He was 4 for 12 against Delaware with a home run on Saturday. That homer just the second of his season. 1-2 as that one misses Sales. Guy who will be in the 92 to 94 range. He can get up to 95, and according to his head coach, Randy Hood, he would be a guy who'd be 95, 97 if he worked out of the bullpen. Doesn't need the extra velo here as he ties up Beckstein. A strikeout for R.J. Sales, and that's a great way to continue the momentum that his team gave him from the top of the inning.
And a good fastball in on Luke Beckstein. Just tied him up with that high velocity. So one batter, one gone here for Sales here in the bottom of the first inning. And Alex, like you mentioned, you get a 4-0 lead. You don't want to give it right back. So nice job from the get-go here from Sales.
Brings up Mike Sirota. Center fielder from Broad Channel, New York, takes a strike. Sirota hitting .264 with a couple of home runs and 16 RBIs. Sirota was a guy at the start of the season who got a lot of early round MLB draft buzz. And there are a lot of scouts in attendance today to get their eyes on Sirota, see if he can finish strong as he blasts that one past the third baseman Kroom. And Sirota coming on strong here after a good series against Delaware. Starts off his day with a single.
Yeah, you know, he's a 5-game hitting streak. He was 6 for 19 over his last 4 games and starting to find his swing, which is great for Northeastern moving forward. And they needed that swing there to get a base runner on here to try to get things going in the bottom of the first. And now they got their big hitters coming up with Tyler McGregor batting in the 3 spot.
McGregor, the only lefty in the lineup for Mike Lavin. You and he were talking about McGregor and Alex Lane in our pregame interview. McGregor's from Peabody, Mass. Graduate student, started off his college career at Columbia and has taken a massive step forward in terms of his offensive game the last 2 seasons at Northeastern. He's batting .403. This is his 37th game this year. A .403 number, impressive, but how about leading the nation in doubles with 20? Breaking ball just misses a little bit high. 0 for 5 on Wednesday against Kansas State. That ended an 11-game hitting streak. He did reach base via hit by pitch. He's reached base in 22 consecutive games. A lot of those streaks between these two teams as this is launched high but foul off to the third base side.
And that 11-game hitting streak that came to an end against Kansas State, that was actually the second 11-game hitting streak that he's had this year. He's just been so consistent for Northeastern.
The thing about the most recent 11-game hitting streak for him is that he had an 8-game multi-hit streak within that 11-game streak. Gets a piece of the 1-2 pitch here. This is a good battle between Sales and McGregor.
We've hit on the dominant numbers for Northeastern from an offensive standpoint. Well, a big reason why the guy up at the plate and then the guy on deck in Alex Lane.
They have really carried the Northeastern offense and now being tested against a really good starting pitching staff. Sales 1-2, fouled off of McGregor's foot. Came at it with a hard breaking ball. Sales has that bender and also a changeup. The breaking ball has hard late break to it. And that's one of his go-to pitches. Seen it a couple of times here. Another 1-2 to McGregor. Grounded right side into the glove of Thatch to second for 1. Return to first, double play. 3-6-3. And UNCW retires one of the most feared hitters in the Coastal Athletic Association. Sales faces the minimum. 4-0 UNCW. Welcome back to Friedman Diamond in Brookline, Massachusetts with Joe Weil, Alex Vespoli here with you, and it's one and done. Jake Igliotti just didn't have it today, and Mike Lavin makes the change to the bullpen and calls upon the right-hander from North Andover, Massachusetts, Brett Dunham. Dunham, a 6'2" right-hander, 205 pounds. You see the numbers this season, and so he is called upon much earlier than Northeastern would have hoped to have used the bullpen, but Dunham, not one of the guys who was used extensively coming into this week, but he did pitch 2 innings against Kansas State, worked 2 innings, only threw 18 pitches in that outing, and here he is working for the second time in 3 days.
And it was the first work he'd seen on the mound in 15 days. His previous outing was on April 2nd against UMass, and now he's put in a long relief type spot. We'll see how long they end up going with him, but Jake Igliotti gives Northeastern just 1 inning and allows 4 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned. He walked 2 and struck out 1, but he tossed 41 pitches in that first inning.
Allowed 4 runs, and there's strike 1 to Aiden Evans, who really had the base hit that kind of turned the tide seemingly for the whole inning. As he rips through the 0-1, it was that little chopper that had the English on it. Looked like it was going to be the easy first out of the inning. And instead, kind of the train came off the tracks from there on out. And he goes down swinging. Evans chases. And Dunham strikes out the first he sees.
Yeah, picks up right where he left off against Kansas State when he tossed those 2 hitless innings. That was a nice pitch, a breaking ball off the outside corner. And Evans, with 2 strikes, ends up whiffing on it.
Northeastern will see Tanner Thatch for the second time. They've got a big overshift on for him. As a breaking ball misses to Thatch, they've got 3 infielders on the right side. Muzakia playing off and to the right of second base. Luke Beckstein is playing in shallow right field as Thatch goes swinging for the fences on a pitch that almost hit him.
And that slider that Dunham has already utilized in this inning, it's gotten some swings and misses so far.
2-1 on Thatch. Base hit that he had in the first inning. Another extra base hit. It was put down as a double. Actually, they've changed it back to a single with advancement on the throw, which I think is the right call. 3-1. Good pitch right over the middle. And it's 3-2 here on Thatch. You know, we said it's a season-long power surge. He's gone no more than 4 games without a home run. And he goes down looking. Breaking ball on the outside corner. And Dunham K's one of the scariest guys in the country to face. Back-to-back strikeouts to start his inning.
Yeah, 2 up, 2 down here for the junior. And in the breaking ball, that's been his money pitch so far. The fastball, he hasn't been able to quite locate it where he wants, but every time he's unleashed that breaking ball, it's been money.
Ball 1 to Alec DiMartino, who struck out in his first at-bat. Mentioned these were 2 teams coming in on very different vibes. For UNCW, squad that didn't get off to the type of start to the season that they were hoping for, but they've been pretty consistent in the eyes of their head coach for much of the year. And in the last 3 or 4 weeks, they've taken it up to another level. And it really all has started with their pitching and their defense, which has been there. But the offense, you're seeing a lot of guys' bats begin to wake up. 3-1 here on DiMartino.
Now, you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but in this 6-game winning streak, they're averaging over 9 runs per game. So they're swinging it well. They got a little bit of help from the Northeastern defense, though, in the first inning.
Big swing and a miss. That breaking ball again for Dunham. Full count on DiMartino. Yeah, one of those runs was unearned to Gigliotti. That was the last run, as this is off the end of the bat to left field. There's Alex Lane in front of Sirota, and DiMartino flies out. It's a 1-2-3, top of the second inning for Dunham. Continues the momentum from Wednesday's contest. Still 4-0 lead for the Seahawks. Last of the second after this. This is the 58th all-time meeting between these two programs. UNCW has basically doubled up Northeastern and then some as far as the wins. And, you know, we talk about this rivalry. You know, you look, what rivalry? 15-6 since 2008. Well, look at that last line there. The games have been so close, and that's just 2 runs or less. There are a bunch more that have been decided by 3 runs or fewer. Just seems like these squads play tight games, and it all comes down to the end. There's been 3 extra inning games the last few years, and often these games, these tight ones, have come in the CAA tournament. Yeah,
and you look at the most recent CAA tournament championships that each team has won, they had to go through the other to get it. So for Northeastern, of course, that was in 2021, and then for UNCW, that was last year.
Strike 1 to Alex Lane from RJ Sales. And Lane, talk about feared hitters on the other side over at first base and Tanner Hatch. Alex Lane and Tyler McGregor have been that for Northeastern. Andover, Mass native. Lane started off his college career at Bryant after starring at St. John's Prep. And this season with Northeastern, batting .415, 11 home runs, and he's 5th in the nation with 55 RBIs. Now 2-2 counts here on Lane. Coming off a 2-for-5 game against Kansas State on Wednesday. Up against the All-CAA freshman All-American a few years ago, RJ Sales, and a 2-hopper to Jones at short. And just like that, the 2 heaviest hitters have grounded out on the last 2 at-bats.
Yeah, it's impressive work so far from RJ Sales through the first 4 batters, the lone blemish being a hit by Mike Sirota, but then that was erased with a 3-6-3 double play. We'll see second or even possibly third time around how Sales does against guys like McGregor and Lane, but so far so good.
First pitch is a strike to Matt Brinker, designated hitter today. Playing in his first game in a couple of weeks. He last played against Towson on April 6th. Norfolk, Massachusetts native. DH today, but we've seen him at catcher at various points this season. And he's quickly behind in the count, 0-2. And this is something that Sales has done wonderfully here to start this game. He has been ahead of every batter after the first or second pitch. And he quickly takes care of Brinker on a breaking ball. Throw down from Arndt is on the money. And that's the second strikeout for RJ Sales. And Huskies starting to go quietly here in this second inning.
Yeah, he's been able to establish things with the fastball and then go to the off-speed stuff to pick up a couple strikeouts here. So 2 strikeouts through an inning and 2/3 now for Sales.
Here is Goodman. He takes a fastball for a strike. Yeah, Sales had the procedure just before the season started last year, and that brace procedure is not quite as labor-intensive as far as or time-intensive when it comes to the rehab. He was actually ready to start throwing at the end of the regular season, but they didn't want to burn an entire year of eligibility for a guy who, you never know how somebody's going to throw when they haven't been pitching all year. As there is strike 3, Goodman frozen on the curveball. Back-to-back strikeouts for Sales, and it's a perfect 1-2-3, bottom of the second. 4-0 Seahawks, off to a great start in this series opener in Brookline.
Beautiful Friedman Diamond on what is a fantastic mid-April day here in Brookline, Massachusetts, alongside Alex Vespoli. I'm Joe Wiles. We take a look at the CAA standings, and this is a matchup of the top two teams in the conference. UNCW 10-2. They've been able to register 3 CAA sweeps this year, and then they lost 2 out of 3 against Charleston. Meanwhile, Northeastern, they have 1 sweep under their belt this year, and they have won the other 3 series that they played 2 games to 1. So unlike UNCW, they've actually won all their series, but this, of course, a pivotal matchup with them being 1 game down in the standings.
Yeah, and going out of conference, Northeastern's won 7 consecutive series.
First pitch to Trevor Marsh's rip back, counting 0-1, is Brett Dunham on for his second inning of work.
Of course, the easiest way to start that off is to take that first game, but UNCW is making a statement here early, and it just seems like RJ Sales, unfazed by Northeastern's offensive prowess and buoyed by the fact that his team spotted him 4 runs before he even took to the mound.
Yeah, gave him a nice cushion, 0-2. That's inside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Meanwhile, Brett Dunham came on in the second inning after Jake Gigliotti, the starter, allowed 4 runs, 3 earned in the first, and tossed 41 pitches, but had a 1-2-3 second. That's guided into left field, hit deep. Lane back to the track. He looks up, and it's gone. So solo shot for Trevor Marsh makes it a 5-0 UNCW lead here in the third.
This was a great piece of hitting by Marsh. Pitch was away. After he took the 0-2 for ball 1, he just flicks this opposite field to the left. Look at that. He waits on it, goes off the end of the bat, and it just carries and carries. A little bit of wind blowing that way. I thought that Lane thought he was going to have a chance on it. Tough to tell whether or not that hit the very top of the wall and bounced over, or if it hit the surface on the other side of that wall. And now a hit by pitch right after the homer.
Yeah, and it was a pitch that hit Brian Arndt in the helmet. He's okay, just flips the bat toward his dugout and jogs over to first base. How about Marsh and the way he's been able to pummel New England pitching? He had a 2-homer game against Boston College earlier in the year. And now a home run against Northeastern in his first at-bat of this series. In steps Brock Wills. All CAA rookie team member a year ago. He squares around a bunt, pulls back, and that's a breaking ball low from Dunham.
Now, for as great as the second inning was for Dunham, this third inning has really not been good at all here. Home run, a hit by pitch. He's got to figure out a way to channel what he had going on in the second.
Pickoff attempt to first as Arndt gets back in. He's 4 for 4 in stolen base attempts. Wills is up at the plate, is now 9 for 27 on the year. He bounced out to first his first time up. Had a hamate injury at the beginning of the year. That's outside. 2 balls and no strikes. And when we talked to Randy Hood, the head coach of UNCW, he said, just getting him back in the lineup makes our lineup deeper. The athleticism, but he feels like he's still playing catch-up and getting live at bats. But they've thrown him into the fire, and he's done pretty well so far. As that 2-0 pitch is high, counted 3-0.
Yeah, it's really impressive what he's done. As you know, those hamate bone injuries, just you can't really swing for several weeks. It's so difficult to get your timing back, especially when you don't even have a season to rest back on of experience coming into the season. You can look back to your fall experience. But for Wills, as he gets aboard on a 4-pitch walk, he's looked great, and UNCW looking great here again in the top of the third.
And now the catcher, Gregory Bozzo, wants to talk things over with Dunham. So to start off this inning for UNCW, Trevor Marsh hits a home run. That was followed by a hit by pitch, and now a 4-pitch walk to Brock Wills. And now it's John Newton who digs in. He went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs in UNCW's win against Wake Forest. That was earlier this week. Wake Forest, the 12th ranked team in the country going into that matchup. Just picked up 2 out of 3 against Boston College, not too far from here.
Yeah, second ranked win of the month here for UNCW. They had a victory over Coastal Carolina, at the time ranked number 20 in the country. That was a home game. Now for Dunham, he's got to kind of put that home run past him. Sometimes you give up a home run after you're ahead, you get a little bit gun shy. Seems like we've seen that the last few pitches here from him.
And that bunt is foul behind home plate by Newton.
You'd imagine that conversation that Bozzo had with him was try and settle him down, say, hey, get back to your game plan. Don't worry about what happened here the previous couple of pitches. Let's just go after these guys at the bottom of the order.
Yeah, Newton, the 8 batter in the lineup, came into today hitting .275. That's still his average because he walked his first time up. Turned his second, and a soft throw to Luke Beckstein. John Newton is up at the plate. He's from Waxhaw, North Carolina. He's one of 31 North Carolina natives on this UNCW roster. 0-1. There's a fastball strike, so the count's at 0-2, and we'll see if Newton sticks with the bunting in this at-bat now with 2 strikes.
Yeah, there's so much baseball talent in North Carolina, but also so much competition for that talent. There are double-digit Division I programs down there, and
0-2's outside.
It's obviously as a public institution, they're going to draw on a pretty healthy in-state supply of players. And boy, this coaching staff first, you look at Mark Scaff and now Randy Hood.
1-2 pitch, lining to right field, a base hit. Arndt is held up at third as the throw comes in from right. So the bases are juiced with nobody out, and the Seahawks have a golden opportunity to bust this game wide open here in the third.
Absolutely, and they had the bases loaded back in the first inning. Were not able to do anything with it, but bottom of the order has been productive here. Newton gets on for the second time, and for the second time in this inning, Dunham gets ahead of a batter 0-2 and can't put him away. First it was the home run by Marsh, and now the single by Newton.
Here's a 9-batter, Kevin Jones. He takes a strike. So bases loaded, nobody out. UNCW already with a 5-0 advantage. 0-1. That's hop foul outside of third. And boy, a strikeout would be huge for Dunham, who did pick up 2 in the second inning.
Northeastern does have right-handed action up in the bullpen. Again, Dunham working for the second time in 3 days and being asked to work through multiple innings in both outings.
Infield's playing back 0-2. Chopped to short. Muzakia flips to second for 1, and Beckstein is taken out at second base. No chance for a throw at first. So an RBI for Jones as Arndt comes in to score. Wills to third, Newton out at second, and there's one gone.
Oh, that was a hard slide. It, to the naked eye, didn't look dirty, but Muzakia was asking the umpire, Joe Gravina, was this a little bit more than necessary? Doesn't look like the trajectory is that far off from the base. Didn't go out of his way to slide there, but Mike Lavin will talk things over with Joe Gravina as well. Of course, he wants to protect his players, but doesn't look like there'll be any change of the rule, but there will be a change on the mound.
So that's it for Brett Dunham. Runners at the corners, 1 out. New pitcher coming in for Northeastern. UNCW already on top 6-0 here at the top of the third. We'll tell you all about the new pitcher right after this on Nesson.
My name is Lenica Vasquez. I am the head volleyball coach at Northeastern University. The thing that will help women's sports is exposure. We're not female athletes. We're not women athletes. We're athletes. So get us in front of the camera. Once you see a volleyball match, you're going to come back for more. But we need that exposure. So the partnership with the City of Boston Credit Union is huge for us. And it just offers us an opportunity to say, hey, here we are. We're going to turn around and uplift the women that are coming up.
This is where everything starts. It's a place of new beginnings, new opportunities, and a new identity. We are the Coastal Athletic Association, and from the beaches to the city streets, We are united to succeed at an elite level, in competition, in our communities, in our lives. This is the tide that lifts us, the fire that burns inside all of us. This is our moment, our new chapter. We are the CAA, and we are united in excellence.
Six-0 game, UNCW on top, and they have runners at the corners with one out. New pitcher on for Northeastern, and it's their third pitcher of the game. It's the right-hander Joseph Hauser, a sophomore from Queens, New York. This is the first year in which he's actually pitched. He missed all of last year due to injury, and this is his third appearance of the season. He's tossed 2 innings, 2 hitless innings, no walks, no strikeouts in those innings as well, but he pitched against Arizona and Towson, and now Alex, he's put in a spot to just stem the tide because UNCW in a pivotal CAA matchup has already jumped down to a 6-0 lead.
Yeah, and obviously a chance for more with 2 runners aboard, still only 1 out in the inning. And Hauser, what an opportunity here. You're getting your first home appearance in your career. The first 2 appearances he had this season, both away from home. And here he is facing the defending conference champs. Tight spot. I should say a tough spot. It's not all that tight right now with the margin 6 runs. But still, he probably knew with all of the pitchers used on Wednesday that there was a chance in these first couple of games in the series he might be called upon.
First pitch to Jack Kroom is low and in for ball 1. Not only is he facing the reigning CAA champs in UNCW, Jack Kroom, who's up at the plate, he's one of the hottest hitters in the conference. Started the game with a double, so now he has a 12-game hitting streak. That's inside, and it hits Kroom. So the second hit batter of the inning, and UNCW once again has the bases loaded.
Yeah, it sounded like this got Kroom. He's got a hard covering over his left or his right elbow. I think it got him on that elbow protector. And so it made quite the sound, but didn't get him on the skin, I think. Yep, right there.
Here's Aiden Evans. Bases loaded, 1 out. Breaking ball high there from Hauser. Couldn't quite get on top of that pitch enough, so the count's at 1-0. Evans in his second season at UNCW. One thing he does well is lay down sack bunts. He's the CAA leader in that category. 1-0. That's outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Of course, this is not the situation to lay down another one. Bases loaded, 1 out. He has a chance to bust this game wide open.
Yeah, this is the situation as a hitter. You can't wait to swing. You can't wait until you get a pitch that you really like.
2-0 pitch ripped into right field, a base hit. Wills comes in to score. Jones around third. He crosses home plate. The ball trickles toward third base. It's a 2-run single for Aiden Evans. And UNCW with a 4 spot here in the third. They now lead 8-0.
Good piece of hitting. He finally gets a pitch in the strike zone. Left out over the plate. Pumps it into right field. Aiden Evans now up to 10 RBIs on the season. And the merry-go-round continuing to spin here for UNCW. Another 4-run inning.
And in steps Tanner Thatch, who's got 20 home runs this year. That's a strike on the inside corner. He's homered in 4 consecutive games. He's also posted 4 multi-hit games in a row as well. One of the best hitters in the conference. Looking to pour it on here with the Seahawks up by 8. That's upstairs, 2 balls and no strikes, and it's hard to believe that Thatch here in April 19th with 1 home run could tie the single season record at UNCW in home runs.
Yeah, it's just been a spectacular season for him. And building off of what he did last year, it's not like this came out of absolutely nowhere. When you take a look at Thatch, he was a state player of the year in high school. He was a 2-way star, not only as a hitter, but as a really tremendous pitcher. He has pitched a little bit this season, but it doesn't sound like he's going to be out on the mound anytime soon. He hasn't pitched in a game since March 26th. And just talking to Randy Hood, I think that other guys in the bullpen have stepped up, and he just is so important, not only offensively, but the way he mans first base defensively. Tough to take that away.
Runner goes from first. The pitch is bounced to the right side. Diving stop by McGregor. He flips to the covering Hauser for the second out, but another run comes in to score. It's Kroom who crosses home plate, and it's now a 9-0 Seahawks lead.
Northeastern giving no attention at all to Kroom coming home from third base, and they realize the situation they're in. They just need to get outs here, and that's a tremendous play by McGregor to make that diving stop. We just finished talking about Tanner Thatch's defense at first. Well, Tyler McGregor pretty darn good over there as well.
Here's Alec DiMartino up at the plate now. He lines it foul down the right side. So this is the second inning in this game in which UNCW has sent at least 9 batters to the plate in a single frame. They sent 10 in the first, and DiMartino, the 9th batter here in the third inning.
It's just continuing a slump that Northeastern has had on the mound. And you can point to all the wind in the world against Delaware last weekend, but you just take a look at the total runs allowed the last few games. 9 runs against Kansas State, 14, 9, and 8 runs allowed against Delaware. So all that pitching that helped them win the Beanpot Championship against Boston College, haven't been able to find that since.
0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So the Queens, New York native blows a fastball by DiMartino to end the top of the third. But UNCW tacks on 5 runs. The Seahawks in a big CAA showdown lead 9-0 over Northeastern. We head to the bottom of the third next. Back here at Freedman Diamond, where UNCW has a 9-0 lead over the Northeastern Huskies, and this is more of just what we've seen from the Hawks, or the Seahawks, over their last 6 games. They've won all of them, and they really put it on Towson last weekend, outscoring them 37-6, but they have just been playing great baseball, and Alex really getting hot at the right time.
Yeah, the bats have been what has led this team to the surge that they're on. The pitching has been there for the most part throughout the season, and you take a look at the last 19 games, the 4 losses, a ranked ECU team, a ranked UNC squad, and then a Charleston team, which is perennially one of the better teams in the CAA. There's no shame in losing a series to the Cougars there, but this has been a team that has been tough to beat, and Northeastern's getting a realization of that if they didn't already based on what they've seen out of the Seahawks the last few years.
7, 8, 9 batters up for the Huskies. 1-0 to Gregory Bazzo. He bounces it just foul down that third base side. So he will head back to the right-handed batter's box, and Bazzo's been swinging the bat really well. He started the season 2 for 27 at the plate, but since then he's 21 for 58, so that's a 362 average, and he's hit 8 home runs in that span as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not just death by singles here. He has been blasting the ball out of the ballpark, and just really an unexpected power surge.
Good breaking ball from Sales, count at 1-2. And when we talked to Northeastern head coach Mike Glavin about Gregory Bazzo, he said that the ball's really been jumping off his bat since the fall. He noticed an uptick in exit velocity. Swing and a miss, but it gets away from the catcher, Arndt, and Bazzo gets to first base safely.
Oh, boy. That was the call over there by Randy Rosenberg. I don't agree with it. I thought that the throw from Arndt got there in time, but we saw a little peek out of the dugout by Randy Hood. And Bazo's like, well, thank goodness I salvaged something out of that plate appearance because that was not a good pitch to strike out on. At least he gets himself at first.
The Huskies will take all the breaks they can get right now, down 9-0, and here's Carmelo Muzakia, the 8-batter. Bounce to the right side. Evans goes to second. No, and it's off of the glove of Jones and trickles into left field. Bazo moves to third, Muzakia to second. So a couple breaks for the Huskies, and they have runners on second and third with nobody out.
Well, it was Muzakia who hit a ball that led to an error and allowed 3 runs to score late in the game against Kansas State. This time Evans, the spinorama, trying to hold the bag. Kevin Jones, he would have been better off coming off of it just to make sure he gets the throw in. Instead, it ticks off the end of his glove. Great hustle by Northeastern and Bazo and Muzakia. And now Northeastern with a little bit of life here, even though the score is 9-0.
Quick mound visit here for the Seahawks. So the Huskies, without the use of a hit, have runners on second and third with nobody out. It will be Cam Maldonado, the 9-batter, stepping to the plate. And boy, they could use from Cam Maldonado what they got a lot last year, and that's the long ball.
Yeah, without a doubt, Maldonado has been stuck below 200 seemingly all season long, but I think that everybody knows the type of season he had last year, and you see flashes from him this year. Question is, when will one of those flashes pop and reveal itself, and will it sustain itself? He's a really talented player.
Hitting 170 this season. First pitch, a strike on the inside corner. Last year he set a Northeastern rookie record for home runs. He hit 13. This year only 2 long balls. 0-1. Swing and a miss and late on the fastball.
You can see good life on that Sales fastball, even though it's not necessarily the hardest pitch. I mean, good velo in the low 90s, but it certainly looks like it is tough to pick up on if you're a hitter. Looks like we have something in foul territory that leaked out onto the field. Home plate umpire Brian Marine just wants to make sure it gets taken off.
It was a football from some of the kids
group there.
Yeah, the kids are playing down that first base way.
All right. Wonder if the Patriots are going to have whoever threw that in for a top 30 visit. I hope not, based on where that ball ended up.
0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, as Maldonado goes down at a fastball out of the zone.
That's what we're talking about, the life on that fastball. Hitters are just having a hard time picking it up. And Maldonado very late on that upstairs offering, trying to protect with 2 strikes on him, and that is already the 5th K for R.J. Sales.
And the second in the inning, but Bazo was able to reach. So second and third, one out. Here's Luke Beckstein as he takes one outside for ball 1. He struck out swinging his first time up. Got jammed with a fastball by Sales. Beckstein came into today's action 6th in the nation in on-base percentage at .563. 1-0. Good stop by Arndt in the count at 2 balls and no strikes.
Just the ultimate player for Mike Lavin. He loves having Luke Beckstein on the team. And there's no doubt Beckstein wants to make up for the error that he was involved with back in the first inning that helped open the floodgates.
Counted 3-0 now on Beckstein. And if you want to get Coach Glavin talking at length about any player, it's Luke Beckstein because of what he has provided this Northeastern team at the top of the lineup. One of the most notable things is how many hit by pitches he's taken this year. 25. That's high for ball 4. Doesn't need any ice this time. Instead, he just takes 4 pitches out of the zone to get to first base. And the bases are juiced with 1 out for Mike Sirota.
Well, Luke Beckstein has now reached safely in 20 consecutive games. And R.J. Sales, after seeing Northeastern's pitchers have to work out of some bases-loaded jams, now he's got to work out of one. Although the Huskies have not been great by average in terms of bases loaded this season.
First pitch to Sirota. That's a strike. So Sales finds the zone that time. No balls and 1 strike. So the Huskies have the bases loaded without the use of a hit, and in steps Mike Sirota, a player projected to be in the first round coming into the year. 0-1. He takes one just outside. He did single his first time up, so his hit streak now at 5 games. 7 for 20 over that span. Starting to find his swing a little bit. Rip and a miss. Count it 1-2.
Well-placed pitch there. The pitcher's pitch right there. Nothing a hitter can do with that, but just fell out of the zone. And Sales has looked in control when he's been ahead in counts against these Huskies.
1 ball and 2 strikes on the 2-batter. Strike 3 call outside corner. Sirota thought that was ball 2.
I think he's got a case. That pitch looked a little bit down and away, but great job by Arndt to frame this pitch. Look where this pitch ends up. That's certainly not in the strike zone, but close enough to fool the home plate umpire, Brian Marine, and now it's up to Tyler McGregor to try and take advantage of the bases loaded.
He rips the first pitch back, counted 0-1, and boy, this would be a wasted opportunity for Northeastern if they can't cash this in for any runs. Down 9-0, needing a jolt in a big CAA showdown. No one. Popped up. Foul ground left side. And this one heads out of play. Heads into a backyard over the screen that is set up down that third base side.
So you know it got up there. Some elevation on that one for McGregor, but again in a tough spot here. Sales getting ahead of another Northeastern hitter.
Looking to get out of the inning. Already 3 strikeouts in the frame. He's got the rare opportunity to strike out 4 batters in an inning. It was Bazo who led off the inning with his strikeout, but the ball bounced in front of the plate and then went over the catcher Arndt, and he was able to reach base safely to help set up this bases-loaded situation for the Huskies. 1 ball and 2 strikes on McGregor. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And how about that inning from Sales? He strikes out 4 batters, and he works out of a bases-loaded jam. We head to the 4th. UNCW on top 9-0 against the Northeastern Huskies here in Brookline, Massachusetts. Well, these two programs have seen each other a lot in the biggest games of the year. As you look at some of the matchups specifically in the CAA tournaments, they've met in 5 of the last 6. Northeastern won it all in 2021, but UNCW got their revenge back in 2023. And we may be headed for that again, Alex, with the way these two teams have played so far in conference action.
Yeah, you see 4 times in those 5 meetings the team that won has been the CAA champion, not necessarily winning the CAA title at the other team's expense, but it's pretty amazing that these teams not only meet, but they meet for multiple games often in the CAA tournament.
Counts at 2 balls and no strikes. It's Trevor Marsh leading things off once again. He led off the 3rd inning and hit a solo home run to left field. Joseph Hauser on the mound, third pitcher of the game for Northeastern, as that ball's driven high and deep to right center field. Back goes Sirota. He looks up. Goodbye. Trevor Marsh blasts his second home run of the game. And UNCW on top 10-0 now here in the fourth.
Home runs do not leave the ballpark here at Friedman Diamond to center all that often. You know that he got all of this. It just carried. The wind is blowing out to center. That surely helped it a little bit, but Mike Sirota is not used to giving up on too many balls once he reaches this part of the field. And UNCW, a 10 spot on the board.
How about the day for Marsh, too? He's 3 for 3, 2 home runs and a double, as that's ripped back by Brian Arndt. Counting no balls and 1 strike. So, boy, this has been a tough start to the series for Northeastern to be down 10-0 against one of their CAA rivals at home in the opener. Bender in there for a strike, counting 0-2.
Do you think if Marsh triples later in the game, he's going to wish that home run was only a single?
I think he'll take the home run.
Yeah?
I think so.
2 home run game over a potential cycle?
Counted 1 ball and 2 strikes. With cycles, you just can't force it.
Seen a cycle here this season. Was hit by Jack Goodman, current Northeastern third baseman.
Jam shot into center field. This drops in for a base hit. So Arndt reaches for the 3rd time today. That's his first hit of the afternoon. And UNCW has a runner on first with nobody out for Brock Wills.
You're starting to wonder, did these teams switch uniforms? Because the way that UNCW is swinging the bats, this is exactly the way that Northeastern's done it here for the most part this season. Their runs per game average is 36th in the nation. UNCW is 7th in the CAA in runs per game, but here they are, not even halfway through this game, up by 10. And just continuously pouring it on.
Here's Brock Wills now up at the plate. He takes the first pitch high.
What this game becomes for Northeastern, not that you are willing to concede it at this point, but it becomes a game of just getting outs and trying to make sure that this doesn't bleed over into tomorrow based on, okay, we don't have enough pitching to make it through this weekend.
Popped up into shallow left. Lane chugging in, and he makes the catch on the run. It was a late break for Alex Lane out there in left field, but he ends up recovering to secure the first out of the top of the 4th inning.
And he shaded a little bit deeper to start because of the way the wind is blowing. Just everything has seemingly taken him back to the wall. So I think he was expecting that ball to get to him maybe a little bit sooner than it did, but good late break on that for a guy who's played most of the season as the designated hitter for Northeastern.
First pitch bounced to third by Newton. Huskies getting the out at second base. Jack Goodman with a nice play to get it over to Beckstein for the second out as Newton reaches on first. 5-4 fielder's choice, 2 gone. It's been a fun trip for UNCW to Massachusetts. Yesterday, they had some tickets to Fenway Park. Had a chance to see the Red Sox in action against the Cleveland Guardians. Wasn't the best game to go to because it was a rain-soaked affair between those two teams. First pitch in there for a strike to Kevin Jones.
But yeah, they didn't get to the ballpark until about the 6th inning or so, and they're fortunate that it wasn't the previous night's game because the game might have been over at that point with the Red Sox Guardians going an hour 44 on Wednesday.
Swing and a miss, counted 0-2. That was the Tanner Houck complete game shutout game. Yeah, went an hour 49, and it was the first complete game shutout for a Red Sox pitcher at Fenway since 2017. 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and that ends the 4th. But UNCW adds on another. Trevor Marsh blasts his second home run of the game, a solo shot to dead center. And this one's been all Seahawks on top 10-0 as we go to the bottom of the 4th next. Well, the Northeastern faithful looking at their phones, at least the ones that we're showing right now, and it's because the home team right now is down 10-0. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. UNCW with the advantage over the Huskies in game 1 of a 3-game set. Alexander the Great first up, though, for Northeastern here in the bottom of the 4th inning, and what a season he has had for the Huskies. In his 2nd year with Northeastern, he's a Bryant transfer, but the numbers, Alex, are just completely staggering.
Yeah, 4th in the NCAA in RBIs. He's also in the top 30 among all Division I players in batting average, hits, on base percentage. He's had an 18-game hitting streak, a 13-game hitting streak, 20 multi-hit games. It's just been a spectacular season for the Andover native, and he'll try and dig Northeastern out of this hole, try and give him some mojo, at least going into the rest of the weekend, if not for this game. Tough to do it against R.J. Sales, the way he's been pitching it.
Lane went around there, counted 0-2. How about the 3rd inning for R.J. Sales? He struck out 4 batters. He now has 7 strikeouts in this game through 3 innings. On the precipice of another. Lane puts it into play into shallow center field. Marsh had to come a long way as he was playing deep in center, but he makes the catch. 1 out.
Well, Sales has, really done the most important thing for a pitcher, and that's feature strike 1. He's thrown a first pitch strike to all but 1 batter that he's faced in this game, and more often than not, he's been ahead 0-2, 1-2, seemingly on just about every hitter, and that's allowed him to stay in the driver's seat and keep Northeastern off balance. And here he goes again.
Another first pitch strike, this time to Matt Brinker, who struck out swinging his first time up. Now 8 for 33 on the year.
It's so much fun watching a pitcher who just throws with as much confidence as R.J. Sales, and the way he approaches every single pitch decisively. May not always be a strike, but it certainly feels like in his mind everything he throws is going to be practically unhittable. And this is only the 2nd time in the game he's fallen behind a hitter after 3 pitches. The first time was that 4-pitch walk to Beckstein.
And the numbers coming in were impressive. 6-2 record, 3.59 ERA. But he's fallen behind here, counted 3-1. His season high in strikeouts is 8. He's done it a couple times, once against North Carolina A&T, and then he also did it in his first outing of the season, and that was against Kent State. That's a strike. It clips the outside corner, and the count's now full on Matt Brinker. For Matt Brinker, this is start number 9 on the season for him. 3-2, that's a yanked foul. Look out, cars.
We've got a youth baseball team down there ready to try and catch anything that comes their way. They're in a good spot for it. Got to be ready, though, with the glove.
I'm sure to jinx myself, but I remember you giving me a bit of advice in terms of parking here at Freedman Diamond. Swing and a miss, strike 3. It gets away from Arndt. He recovers and delivers a fastball to first in time. Chest high throw to Thatch for the 2nd out, and another strikeout for Sales. He's got 8 now on the afternoon, tying his season high.
And Brinker just didn't realize that this pitch had gotten away. Head was down, so he got a late jump off to first base. If he knew right away, then he might have had a chance to be able to take first base the way that Gregory Bozzo did.
First pitch outside to Jack Goodman, who struck out looking his first time up. But one of the bits of advice you gave me is to park far down that third base way.
If you choose to park there, it's still a gamble. Any car there, it's you're playing roulette with the foul balls, especially against this team. And a guy with power, Tanner Thatch is late on a pitch. Lefty hitter could really drill one off the end of the bat off somebody's windshield.
So far, so good, but there's some wood here in our booth, and I'm knocking on it right now. Counted 2 balls and no strikes on Jack Goodman. Hit off the end of the bat into right center field. Marsh comes on and makes the catch on the run for the final out. So R.J. Sales posts his second 1-2-3 inning of the afternoon, and he's faced the minimum in 3 frames. We head to the 5th. UNCW has a 10-0 lead against Northeastern here in Brookline.
A CAA matchup between the top two teams in the conference, Northeastern and UNCW out of Wilmington, North Carolina. Due up this inning, third will be Tanner Thatch, and what a year it's been. We talked about Thatch is only one home run away from tying the single-season record. This is the all-time record leaderboard for UNCW in terms of home runs, and you see where Thatch is 35. He could very conceivably have the career home run record at UNCW, which has had a really great history of baseball players, especially as of late, before he hits his junior season. I mean, with the way that he's swinging the bat, he could have it by the end of next week. So it's been that type of season for Tanner Thatch. He'll be due up third as the top of the order is coming up, and they'll be facing a new pitcher. As earlier we saw Brett Dunham, a North Andover native. We saw then Joseph Hauser, and now we see another North Andover native in Ryan Griffin. So Griffin comes on, making his fourth appearance of the season. He has no record, 3 2/3 innings, a 2.45 ERA, 1 run allowed on 2 hits, 4 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Batters hitting .200 against him, and he delivers ball 1 to Jack Kroom. Kroom today, 1 of 2, a double. He's been hit by a pitch, and he scored twice. And he hits this one off the end of the bat foul, and that gets down to even up the count. Kroom is from Wilmington, North Carolina, so a local product. You've got a lot of players from the Wilmington area on this team. Talked about all the North Carolinians that are on this UNCW squad. This is a ball reached out and grounded over to McGregor. And, whoa, a little bit of a collision there between Griffin and the runner Kroom, but that's all taken care of by McGregor, and there's one away. Looked like McGregor and Griffin got caught up. Who was going to cover first base? Was McGregor going to get over there quickly enough? And that's probably a good decision by Tyler to not have the throw, especially with Kroom coming in like that. Awkward, but it does lead to the first out, and Northeastern will take it. Have not had very many outs early in innings. Foul ball by Aiden Evans. He's 2 for 3. Drove in 2 runs with a base hit to right his last time. Evans played a little bit as a freshman. They had him in a platoon role earlier this season. He was a second baseman, left fielder, DH type, and he's been able to work his way into being a regular second baseman. Last year, he only hit .200, started 12 of 22 games as he goes waving at the Ryan Griffin breaking ball. But his emergence, especially with the bat, has helped fill out this UNCW lineup. Big cut and a miss. Dropped by Bazo. He throws down in time. And that's a strikeout for Ryan Griffin. 6th Northeastern strikeout as a staff. And there are 2 down.
Now batting first baseman.
Just feeds him the changeup. And Bazo, no panic at all. Able to get Evans. Here is Thatch. He blasts this one. Left center field. Lane on the move. He gives up on it. It's gone. And Tanner Thatch ties the UNCW single-season home run record with his 21st blast of the season. It's 11-0 Seahawks as Thatch has driven in 3 runs today. And just like that, he matches a host of UNCW players with 21 home runs. And now he's 1 away from standing alone atop that list. First pitch up and in to DiMartino. And Thatch didn't wait around at all. First pitch swinging. See you later. Pitch misses for a ball. So everybody who's been on the mound for Northeastern has been roughed up a little bit. Gigliotti gave up 4 runs in 1 inning. Dunham, 4 runs in an inning and a third. Hauser, 2 runs in 1 2/3 innings. And now Ryan Griffin, at least 1 run in 2/3 of an inning. And there's ball 4. Second time today that Northeastern has given a free pass out immediately after giving up a home run. And DiMartino gets aboard for the first time today. That means that everybody on UNCW has reached base at some point in this game.
How about Thatch hitting that home run, though? The names he ties with 21 home runs in a single season for UNCW: Casey Golden, Mark Carver, Nick Fight, and Brian Britt.
There's a strike to Trevor Marsh, and all now with 21. Lucky number. I don't think that home run record is going to stay at 21, though, anytime soon. That's going to keep on going up. And how about 5 straight games with a home run for Tanner Thatch? Incredible.
And also 5 consecutive multi-hit games on top of that. I mean, he is just such a consistent hitter.
Do you think we got it right when we tabbed him as our player to watch coming into this game?
We're looking like geniuses right now.
Well, it didn't exactly take a Mensa member to be able to, pick him out. 1 and 2 here on Marsh. All he's done today is hit 2 home runs and a double. 3 for 3. Griffin trying to end the inning right there. 2 and 2 on Marsh with a man at first, 2 outs, 11-0 UNCW. Wind has been blowing out pretty consistently to center field. It still is, as that nearly gets away from McGregor as they check over at first base on DiMartino. UNCW not as active base stealing as Northeastern, and well, you figure they're not going to be too active with an 11-run lead at this point. Up and away, 3 and 2 here on Marsh. Ryan Griffin just trying to get out of the inning. Again, the name of the game is get out and get through this game with minimal damage to your pitching staff as a whole for Northeastern. And for UNCW, it's about continuing that statement. Runner goes on the 3-2. It's ball 4, and that's back-to-back walks to DiMartino and Marsh after the home run.
And what's been tough for Northeastern is there's not any one part of this game that they can look at and say, okay, we did this well, because they've committed 2 errors. On the pitching side of things, they've given up 11 runs, 10 hits. They've also walked 5. And then offensively, they have just 1 hit.
When you think about offensively, the big moment that they had to maybe give themselves a little bit of forward momentum with the bases loaded, thanks to UNCW's defense in the 3rd inning. Back-to-back strikeouts of the 2-3 batters, Sirota and McGregor, and that kind of told you the way that this one, if you didn't already know at that point, with the score being 9-0, the way that this game was going to roll. Just not Northeastern's day here. And everything that UNCW has done, seemingly the Midas touch here for the Seahawks.
It's very rare through 2 turns of Northeastern's batting order. They're not fully through the second time, but my point being that, through 2 turns, McGregor and Lane going a combined 0 for 4. That just doesn't happen all that often against Northeastern.
There's a strike. 1-1 here on Brian Arndt, who has singled, been hit by a pitch, and walked today. 3 different ways he's gotten on base safely. Griffin gets a swing and a miss. Huskies will have the bottom third of the order up against R.J. Sales, who's been on cruise control. 57 pitches through 4 innings. Only 17 balls of those 57. Griffin's 1-2, hits Arndt. Second time today that the UNCW catcher has been plunked. And that will load the bases for the Seahawks. Third UNCW hit by pitch. And here we go. Brock Wills coming up. See if it makes the Huskies pay for 3 consecutive men put on either by walk or hit batters since the Thatch home run. Wills today 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Again, it just shows you that this looked like it was going to be a no-problem inning for Griffin, but you make one mistake on the home run to Thatch, and it just seems like the confidence no longer in the same supply it was to start the frame. Wills takes a strike. He and Brian Arndt, both from Holly Springs, North Carolina. Played at Holly Springs High School. This is lashed off the end of the bat and headed foul. Good news there for Northeastern. It would have meant 3 runs in. Instead, it's another 1-2 count, this time to Wills.
Holly Springs High School is where Carlos Rodon pitched at when he was in high school. And he was a North Carolina college star at one point. He pitched for NC State, pitched in the College World Series with the Wolfpack.
1-2. Now 2-2.
And, of course, now with the arch-rival New York Yankees.
In name, right? Is he pitching for them?
He's pitching this year.
This year, okay.
Yeah, last year that was much more of an issue.
2-2. Tugged foul.
He signed that big contract with the Yankees, 6 years, $162 million. And the first year was, especially by those standards, not up to par, but a little bit better this year.
2-2, tipped. Bazo holds on to it and gets the strikeout. So Griffin gets his second strikeout of the inning. Strands the bases loaded, but does serve up the home run to Tanner Thatch. It's 11-0 Seahawks. Two years ago, the first time that R.J. Sales faced Northeastern, he had 4 strikeouts in a 7-inning outing. He has doubled that already, only through 4 innings today. 8 Ks for R.J. Sales over 4 scoreless innings. He's had the breaking ball humming, Joe.
Yeah, he's recorded a strikeout in each inning, at least one, but in the 3rd inning, that was the most impressive frame because the bases were loaded in that inning. In some ways, not his fault. There was an error mixed in, a strikeout that ended up going to the backstop. He ends up striking out 4 Northeastern batters in that bottom of the 3rd. He strands 3 runners, and outside of that, he hasn't really been in any trouble today. And this isn't just any offense either. This Northeastern offense is dynamic, yet he's held them to just 1 hit.
Sales will face Gregory Bazo, Carmelo Muzakia, and Cam Maldonado here in the home half of the 5th inning. Northeastern's been limited to 1 hit, 1 walk. 1 man reached on an error, and another, Bazo, reached on a wild pitch, strike 3. So very little offense to go by here for Northeastern, trailing 11-0 as we hit the bottom of the 5th inning. Sales, the Pinehurst, North Carolina native, delivers a strike. The Sales big-time strikeout pitcher when he was in high school at Pine Crest High School. He had a complete game in which he struck out 17. Pretty impressive, especially with most high schools playing 7-inning games. Only 21 outs to be made available. 17 of the 21 outs recorded via strikeout. And here, over the first 4 innings, I'm going to do a little quick math. That's 12 outs, 8 out of 12 via the K here today.
And the fastball's just been so impressive. It's got some giddy up on it.
Stays 1-2. I'll amend myself. Technically, 7 of the 12 outs via strikeout, because Bazo's strikeout did not count as an out. Maybe that's how he picked up all those extra strikeouts. He had a few 4 strikeout innings that high school game that he K'd 17. There's a hard hit ball right to third. Kroom is an excellent third baseman, and he shows us why. Bazo out 5-3. Kroom over at the hot corner, just 2 errors this season, which is pretty impressive here for a college third baseman.
Yeah, he's a very well-rounded player. We've highlighted what he's done offensively today. He's already recorded a hit. He's 1 for 3 with a hit by pitch as well, and he's scored twice. But he can defend as well over there at the hot corner.
Strike 1 to Muzakia. He reached on a throwing error by Aiden Evans his first time. You know, Sales missed the college season, but he did pitch last year for Wilmington. Now, not UNCW Wilmington, as Muzakia gets the second hit of the day for Northeastern. Single up the middle. First hit since the second batter that R.J. Sales faced in the bottom of the first inning. Good piece of hitting here by the Northeastern shortstop from New York City. But Sales, we told you, he was pushing to try and make a return at the end of the college season. UNCW said, let's not burn a year of eligibility, so let him fully rest up. And then he pitched in summer ball in the Coastal Plain League for the Wilmington Sharks. Not too far from the UNCW campus as Cam Maldonado tips that one into the mitt. Didn't have great numbers, but that wasn't the point in that stint with Wilmington. He had an ERA of 7.59, but they just wanted to get him out there into games, get used to pitching again, and try and build a foundation for fall ball. And, of course, coming into this season, I'd say the plan has worked out pretty well here for the Seahawks.
Yeah, especially with the way he's pitched this year. In that freshman campaign, he was great in conference play. He had a great season overall, but in conference action, 4-0 and a 2.83 earned run average. So it was a big reason why he was a first-team All-CAA guy as a freshman, which in itself is remarkable, but then a Collegiate Baseball News freshman All-American as well. And such a weapon for this UNCW team to have back this year.
Quick check on Muzakia, who's back in with the tag from Thatch.
And that's been one of the differences between these two teams, just the rotation stability that UNCW has.
Yeah, it's quite different than what Northeastern's had. Mentioned Gigliotti started the season pitching out of the bullpen and now is in a Friday starter type role, and nobody has been in the same slot for Northeastern on the weekend all season long, and that has not been the case for UNCW. 3-1 is swung on and missed. Full count pitch coming up to Maldonado.
And that's not to necessarily say UNCW is a better team than Northeastern. Obviously, that's the case today. They're on top 11-0, but you know, Northeastern, they're 27-9 coming in, UNCW 24-13, and yes, the Seahawks have the better record in CAA play at 10-2, but Northeastern's got the better RPI.
Here's a ground ball, could be 2 to the second baseman. Evans flips with the glove. There's the throw from Jones in time. Spectacular glove flip by Aiden Evans on a 4-6-3 double play. Second twin killing turn by UNCW today. And they keep the shutout intact. It's 11-0 Seahawks as we go to the 6th. It's been all UNCW here this afternoon, opening day of this 3-game series. And for UNCW, they've had 13 former players get to the show, including a few that are currently on Major League rosters. Those first 4 names: Ryan Jeffers, catcher for the Twins; Evan Phillips with the Dodgers; and then Landon Roop and Austin Warren, teammates with the Giants, although Warren on the 60-day injured list. And then how about old friend Carl Willis, the former Red Sox pitching coach from the middle part of the last decade. He's one of the most experienced players from UNCW in the big leagues, and they had a chance to see his team in action with the Cleveland Guardians as the current pitching coach for that Cleveland squad.
Yeah, that was one of the more fun things about going to Fenway Park for this UNCW team, to see Carl Willis in action and watch his Guardians end up picking up a victory against the Red Sox at Fenway Park. Tough homestand for the Red Sox. They go 3-7 in their opening homestand, but they'll be on the road kicking off a series against the Pittsburgh Pirates today.
Sox have been a good road team this year.
They are 7-3.
Can't argue with that. Here's Nick Caniglio, New Jersey native, who's coming on for the 6th time this season. ERA 7.11. Bulk of that came up in a 3-run, 2-inning performance against Central Connecticut earlier this season. And his first pitch is fouled away by John Newton, the designated hitter.
The tone was set in this game, though, in the top of the first inning when UNCW sent 10 men to the plate, knocked Jake Gigliotti out of the game after he had to throw 41 pitches.
1-1 to John Newton, who must have really gotten sick of when his last name was put first. You know, you go Weil, Joe, and he'd get all sorts of probably Grease references because John Newton, you know, I'm sure that got old real quick for him.
Yes.
Here he is, 1 for 2 today with a walk, ahead in the count, 2-1. Anytime that he met somebody named, you know, John or, you know, Danny, he'd start breaking out into song here as he swings through it, and that'll mercifully end that bit of the conversation. Strikeout for Caniglio, first batter he sees.
Hey, listen, when it's 11-0, you can veer off the regular path.
Another look from Caniglio. And Jones bounces one to the shortstop. Second time that he sent one in Muzakia's direction. And like that, 2 quick outs. You know, this game felt like it could have gone a lot differently. You know, that second inning, it felt like, okay, Northeastern started to get things figured out when Brett Dunham went 1-2-3 in the second. At that point, it was only a 4-0 game, but boy, R.J. Sales, I mean, he looked like a guy who was determined to make good on the big margin that he was given early in this game. And this is shaping up to be a quiet inning here as Kroom goes out to lane and left. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Nick Caniglio, who throws just 7 pitches to get 3 outs. And we head to the bottom of the 6th with UNCW still on top, 11-0. Well, this is an unusual sight. Oftentimes, folks bring their dogs out to the ballpark here and, you know, appropriately enough, cheering on the Huskies. But you know, maybe this is part of the reason the mojo has not gone Northeastern's way with the friendly feline at the confines today.
I hope my cat at home is not watching this game because he'd be jealous.
you have to bring to the next one. Luke Beckstein, you mentioned it, all those hit by pitches, a Northeastern record, 25 of them, 6th in the NCAA in on-base percentage, and he is on pace to surpass the previous record, really smash that previous record from Paul DePillo back in the mid-1980s. It's Paul DePillo, not Paul Perillo, famous Northeastern fan. 1-0 on the first pitch to Beckstein, who has now reached in 20 consecutive games. He was walked back in the third. The only walk from R.J. Sales today, as there's a strike to the Tingsboro native.
And you don't root for anybody to be hit by a pitch, but Northeastern could just use a base runner in any way.
Ooh, tough call there. Beckstein, I think, was expecting a strike, especially with the way Sales has been on cruise control here today. Seems like he's gotten that call more often than not. Mike Sirota wishes that he had gotten that call after his strikeout in the third. The base is loaded.
And Alex, you mentioned the second inning where Northeastern, with Brett Dunham on the mound, was able to register a 1-2-3 inning defensively, and you thought maybe that would slow the game down. Northeastern had a chance to chip back into this game in the bottom of the third as Beckstein takes ball 4. I mean, they were down 9-0 at that point, but you did have the bases loaded with 1 out and Mike Sirota up at the plate with Tyler McGregor on deck. And it's just a credit to Sales that he was able to work out of that inning, get back-to-back strikeouts, and that inning was a gut punch to Northeastern because there was a chance to get back into it. They don't, and then UNCW tacks on some more runs.
Without a doubt, that was the chance for the Huskies to build some momentum early enough in the game where, well, nobody's thinking that teams will regularly come from behind 9-0. With this offense, if you scored 3 or 4 runs in that inning, then say, okay, 5-run deficit when you have about 7 innings, 6-7 innings to work with, it's doable. But obviously, a lot tougher to do when you run out of runway here, as R.J. Sales has missed on 6 of his first 7 in the inning. And the first time he's looked human here today.
And for UNCW, you have a guy on the mound in Sales who's been dominating pretty much all game. He's allowed just 2 hits. And you have a great bullpen. That being said, you don't want to allow Northeastern any type of opportunity to feel like they're back in the game. So this is not a great start for Sales in the inning to walk the leadoff man, a guy that he's retired via the strikeout before in Beckstein in this game, and now fall behind a talented hitter in Mike Sirota.
Sirota 1 for 2 today, has one of 2 Northeastern hits, a single to left back in the first. We talked about how Tanner Thatch was a draft pick prior to going to UNCW. Sirota was a draft pick of the Los Angeles Dodgers prior to coming to Northeastern. Became just the second player who committed to going to Northeastern who was drafted out of high school who ended up going to Northeastern. And he gets aboard. A couple of 5-pitch walks to Beckstein and Sirota. And the Huskies get 2 on base for the second time in this game in the same inning.
And now you have Tyler McGregor up with 2 on and nobody out. Alex Lane on deck.
You hit a home run here, you're just a couple of grand slams away from tying this thing.
As the great Bob Uecker would say.
McGregor is bounced into a double play. He's also struck out. And a good breaking ball finds the bottom of the zone. McGregor, 9th in the NCAA in hits per game, 35th in runs scored per game. He's had 3 4 RBI contests. And he waves at another breaking ball. 0-2. McGregor has seen his batting average drop below 400. Egad. Lays off the breaking ball. He did not go. They went and appealed to Joe Gravina.
One thing to watch, too, Sales is now at 83 pitches. There is no activity in UNCW. Actually, there is one pitcher warming up.
Yeah, just somebody has grabbed a baseball, started to begin to warm up, not with purpose just yet. As there's strike 3, McGregor goes down swinging for the second time. Steady diet of off-speed pitches there to Tyler McGregor, and R.J. Sales, a great bounce back from the back-to-back walks.
And now he ties a career high with 9 strikeouts. We have seen that breaking ball work very well in 2 strike counts for Sales today, and he registers another K with it.
The action in the bullpen, Trace Baker is throwing for the Seahawks. Alex Lane hitless today, which is pretty unusual, 0 for 2. It's grounded out to short, flied out to center. Lane had an 18-game hitting streak ended at the University of Delaware last weekend. He was hitless in the first 2 games of that series before he went 2 for 5 with a home run in the finale.
And Sales set up that fastball really well because he went with a breaking ball first pitch, low and away. Instead, on the second pitch, goes with a fastball up and in.
And one thing you expect at this point, okay, pretty steady diet of fastball, breaking ball, and sometimes you get pitched a little bit backwards. But what goes to show you how good that breaking ball is, that Northeastern has not been able to time it or see it very well at any point here, and we're already in the 6th inning. 1-2. No, just a bit off, 2-2.
But he's working it well inside, outside on right-handed hitters, and that's why he's been so effective really all day long. He's done it against left-handed hitters as well. He's just moved the ball horizontally on the plate so well.
2-2, got him swinging. A career high, 10th strikeout for R.J. Sales. He's been mowing him down all afternoon, and he gets 2 of the toughest hitters in the conference back-to-back.
And it's not just horizontally, it's vertically as well. The bottom dropping out of another strikeout pitch for Sales. I think that was the changeup this time, and he gets Lane. So he's held Alex Lane and Tyler McGregor combined now 0 for 6.
Brinker is K'd twice. He takes outside. Inning started, you almost forget about it. With back-to-back walks, it was looking like Sales was a bit rickety. 2-0 here on Brinker. R.J. Sales, Pinehurst, North Carolina native, had a good outing against Towson, went 6 innings last weekend, allowed just 1 run. Nips the outside corner there, and look back at his outings. He's had only 2 games this season where he's allowed more than 2 runs. 5 quality starts. He's on his way to his 6th here this afternoon. Delivers home. There's a hard hit ball through the left side. Mike Glavin will hold Beckstein up at 3rd. And the bases are loaded. Base hit here by Brinker.
Now batting third baseman Jack Goodman.
And Jack Goodman will try and crack the scoreboard column for the first time for Northeastern today.
And hopefully that Friedman Diamond magic makes its way into Jack Goodman's bat. This is a nice piece of hitting by Brinker. He actually waited back at a breaking ball and then just stroked it through the left side. I think that was smart work by Mike Glavin in the third base coaching box with the strong arm and left.
Goodman 0 for 2. Strikeout looking and a fly out to center.
It's hard to believe that's just the 3rd hit for Northeastern today. They came in to this game hitting .304 on the year. That's as a team.
3 singles. It's a Northeastern team thanks to Tyler McGregor, 5th in the nation in doubles this season. It's not uncommon to see Northeastern up there among the NCAA leaders in triples. They often get a ton of triples at this ballpark, but it's been the doubles for the most part this year. After last year, they were hitting home runs at a historic rate. See the pitch count nearing 100, the most that Sales has thrown this season, 99 in a game. Here's a chopper, left side, picked by Kroom. The throw to first is on the money. And Northeastern squanders a second bases loaded chance. It's Black Friday here in April with all the sales going on. 10 strikeouts for the UNCW ace. And we head to the 7th, 11-0 Seahawks.
It's been all UNCW today, both on the mound and at the plate. The Seahawks have registered 10 hits, and they have been able to plate 11 runs. They've also smacked 3 home runs. Trevor Marsh with 2, and then Tanner Thatch with his 21st home run of the season, adding on one of those insurance tallies. And the Seahawks have been in full command today here in Brookline, Massachusetts, alongside Alex Vispoli. I'm Joe Weil as UNCW looks to secure its 7th consecutive win. And Alex, this has just been a dominating performance today from UNCW.
Yeah, start to, well, we're not quite at the finish, but we're nearing that finish line. And a lot of happy faces in that Seahawks dugout. It doesn't matter who's been on the mound for Northeastern, with the exception of Nick Caniglio in the 6th inning. The other pitchers for the Huskies have been tagged with runs, and now it's up to James Maurice to try and pick up the baton from where Caniglio had them in the 6th.
James Maurice, a sophomore from Southbury, Connecticut, stands on the mound at 6'5". This is his 3rd appearance of the year. He last pitched against UMass back on April 2nd. Here's Aiden Evans up at the plate. First pitch, dribbled to second. Luke Beckstein fields and throws to first. 1 pitch, 1 out.
That's a good continuation after just 7 pitches in the 6th inning from Caniglio. 1 pitch, 1 out for the Southbury, Connecticut native.
So in steps Tanner Thatch, who with his last home run is now tied for the most home runs in a single season in UNCW history. And he's homered for a 5th consecutive game. He also now has 5 consecutive multi-hit games. He's 2 for 4 today, a double and a homer. That's low and in, count at 1-0. Maurice has not allowed a run yet this year. 2 scoreless innings and 2 hitless innings coming into this one. 4 strikeouts, 2 walks in that span. He also pitched against URI. This is his 8th appearance in his career here with the Huskies. That's a strike, count at 1-1.
It's interesting, Thatch taking the first 2 pitches here. He went right after the first pitch that he saw in the 5th inning, even though it was a pitcher who had just entered the game.
Another strike from Maurice, count at 1-2. Yeah, he hit that home run against Ryan Griffin in the 5th inning. Maurice, the 6th pitcher of the afternoon for Northeastern. In there, strike 3.
Second time that Northeastern's caught the very feared Tanner Thatch looking. The first time was the strikeout by Dunham in the 2nd. This time a firm fastball over the inside corner. Good job of working backwards there by Maurice. Started him off with breaking balls. Finishes out with the fastball.
Here's Alec DiMartino up at the plate now. 2 outs, nobody on. As that one's outside for ball 1. The great thing about baseball, you can come right back tomorrow and rebound, and that'll be the outlook for Northeastern going into that middle match if they cannot come back today.
That's a good opportunity for some of these pitchers like Maurice, who does not have a whole lot of game experience this season. Even though it's a conference game against one of the favorites to make it to the NCAA tournament, no pressure. Your team is down 11-0. You can go out there and throw as loose and hopefully, without that pressure of the game situation hanging over you, and it can be a good way to develop good habits.
Yeah, it's certainly a confidence builder to get a player out like Thatch and strike him out looking, as DiMartino ends up going around on that 3-0 pitch. Even after the signal was made by Randy Rosenberg down the first base way, DiMartino was still jogging to first base.
Yeah, it's close whether or not he committed. Obviously, he didn't think so, but he was just running with his head down. It took him a while to realize that Randy Rosenberg had put up the fist.
That's ball 4. No doubt about that.
You wonder, do you go over and say something to the umpire? The answer is no. Honest mistake.
You just happily take your base. So DiMartino aboard for the second time today. He's 0 for 3 with 2 walks. So that 7-game hitting streak now in jeopardy. But on base twice. Team's up 11-0. But in steps Trevor Marsh, who's had a heck of a day at the plate. 3 for 3, 2 home runs, and a double. He's also walked today as well. That's inside, and it hits Marsh. Got him on the right leg. Just a slider that Maurice could not locate. So 2 on with 2 out now for UNCW.
4th hit batter by Northeastern pitchers today. And we've seen a couple of times Maurice has not been able to fully control that breaking ball. This time comes well too far inside. And the Huskies, they are a squad that has hit a lot of batters this season. Not as many as they've been hit, of course. But with 4, that gives them 33 hit batters this season, which is not that much more than Luke Beckstein has as one player, 25.
It's just unbelievable that Beckstein's been hit that many times. But he's earned himself a spot at the top of the Huskies lineup. 1-0. That's outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Arndt came into today's game hitting .244. Today at the plate, he has not been retired. He is 1 for 1, a walk and 2 hit by pitches. That's outside, count at 3-0.
Yeah, Maurice just kind of lost his feel. Seen this a few times from some Northeastern pitchers where it looks like they're in really great shape, as Maurice was the first 2 batters, and then losing all touch and feel for the strike zone.
That's low, ball 4. So 2 walks and a hit by pitch, and the bases are now loaded for the Seahawks. And Brock Wills will now step in. He's looking for his first hit today. 0 for 3 with a walk. And Kevin Cobb, Huskies pitching coach, will go out to chat with James Maurice.
It's 9 out of 10 pitches that have missed the spot here from Maurice since the strikeout of Thatch. And so, this has been pretty ugly from a Northeastern perspective early. It could get worse here with a talented player like Wills coming up and the bases loaded.
There's some activity right now in the Huskies bullpen with the bases loaded in 2 outs. It's Carson Walsh warming up for Northeastern. So Kevin Cobb, whose official title is associate head coach, starts his walk back to the dugout.
I see him checking some notes there, and this is one where the pitching coach, just like it was on Wednesday, you really earn your keep because nobody has been all that effective here today, but you've got to find a way to get through the game and make sure that you don't totally burn out. You want to stay away from your top guys because you hope that you have competitive games these next 2 days and a chance to win the series.
That one's low and in from Maurice. UNCW recently has played great against Northeastern. We've hit on the overall series numbers, and the Seahawks lead the all-time series 39-17-1. They've also won 7 of the last 8. That's chopped off of the leg there of Wills as he falls down to the turf. I'll need a moment to get back up and try to shake that one off. But the last time that UNCW was here was in 2022. They played a series from May 13th to the 15th, and they swept that series.
Get another look at where this ball fouled off. Looked like that right toe. Not a lot of protection. It's not like they're wearing steel-toed boots out there. Good to see that he's okay.
Digs right back in. Count it 1 ball and 1 strike. Maurice trying to work out of the 7th. Keep it 11-0. And that's outside, so still struggling to find the zone here. Randy Hood in his 5th season at the helm, coaching this UNCW team. Longtime assistant beforehand. Counted 2-1. Lined into center field. Sirota makes the catch head high for the final out. So Wills hit it on a rope, but Sirota was right there to make the play. And James Maurice, despite walking to and hitting a batter, posts a 0. Time to stretch here at Freedom and Diamond. Northeastern still down 11-0 against UNCW. New pitcher on the mound for UNCW, and that is a nice sight for Northeastern because of how good R.J. Sales was today, as he ends up going 6 innings, allows just 3 hits, no runs. He walks 3 and strikes out a career-high 10. And Alex, just from the get-go, he was in full control.
Without a doubt. And see the man who's coming on to replace him, Trace Baker, 6'4", 230-pound sophomore from Winterville, North Carolina. This is his 14th appearance of the season, all of them in relief. No record is 6.59 ERA, 13 2/3 innings. He's given up 16 hits, 11 walks, but 11 strikeouts. Batters hitting .296 against him. Baker pitched on Tuesday against Wake Forest. He went 2/3 of an inning, gave up 1 hit but no runs with a strikeout in that 8-5 win over the Demon Deacons. He also worked an inning against Towson on Saturday.
A transfer from Catawba Valley Community College, spent 1 season there. He made 12 starts. He had a 7-3 record. And now he comes into this game.
Always he was ahead of the hitter after the first. Always he was ahead of the hitter after the first 3 pitches. That allowed him to pitch aggressively today.
Gregory Bazo takes the first pitch low and in, count at 1-0. He is 0 for 2 today. He struck out in the 3rd and then bounced out to 3rd in the 5th. That's inside, counted 2 balls and no strikes. Well, if there's anything you can take from this game that is enjoyment as a Northeastern fan, especially if you were here today, is that it was a solid weather day here in Brookline, Massachusetts. Downs bounce behind home plate. First pitch temperature 54 degrees. It was sunny for many parts of this game. Now some clouds above us.
For our folks down in North Carolina watching, and you're saying this is a good weather day, 54 degrees here in, April 19th.
2-1 pitch popped up foul right side out of play.
But we'll take it. It really starts to get consistently nice around here just as the college baseball season is wrapping up. But starting to see some leaves emerging onto trees here.
As Bazo stays alive, for those North Carolina folks watching, this is about as good as it gets at, say, in mid-April in Massachusetts from a weather standpoint. 2-2, bounce down the third base line, backhanded by Kroom, who throws to first in time, and he continues to have a sterling defensive afternoon here in the series opener.
Second time he's taken care of Bazo, and we mentioned very strong defensive player over there at third base, and what was great to see is that even when the bat wasn't all there for Kroom, is that he didn't let it affect his defense, and he has remained an outstanding defensive player. Now that bat is there as well, and boy, just a complete player here in his 5th season.
Here's Carmelo Muzakia, who's 1 for 2, as Baker delivers a strike on the inside corner. He's coming off back-to-back scoreless appearances. He did pitch against Wake Forest a couple days ago in that win in Durham, played at the Bulls Stadium.
Hey, he's had an interesting season. It's been kind of boom or bust. He's had 7 outings that he has allowed, or 6, there's your base hit by Muzakia. 7 outings without giving up a run, and 6 outings in which he's given up 10 total earned runs.
He's had 4 outings in which he's allowed 2 runs apiece. So you see Muzakia swing there, nice piece of hitting, stroking it through the left side. That's the 4th hit of the game, only the 4th for Northeastern today.
All singles to left or center field, too.
Yeah, Cam Maldonado now stepping in. He's 0 for 2, a strikeout. He's also bounced into a 4-6-3 double play. As it's up and in there from Baker.
You see Maldonado saying, "It hit me," but home plate umpire Brian Marine didn't see it the same way, and Mike Lavin says an 11-0 game, I'm not going to go apoplectic on this. It may have, but again, probably is not going to make much of a difference by the end of the day. If it did get him, it got him on that right arm, the one that's not protected by the guard.
Throw to first, Muzakia back in. Yeah, that's a bat that Coach Glavin would like to get going. Cam Maldonado, with how good he was a season ago, hitting 13 home runs in his sophomore campaign here with Northeastern. Takes the strike, count it 1-2. But Randy Hood has to be thrilled with what he's seen from his UNCW team today. In his 5th season at the helm as their head coach, last year they won the CAA tournament title.
You know, that last year, it's very difficult to win the regular season championship and the postseason championship in the same year, and UNCW accomplished that. Really impressive stuff, especially when you consider that it was a strong conference. You had another team that made the NCAA tournament in Northeastern.
Inside, count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Both teams ended up having short NCAA tournament runs. UNCW fell in the NCAA tournament to Duke and Coastal Carolina, so 2 Carolina teams.
2 teams that they often play in the regular season.
Two-two pitch rip back. Now, Randy Hood never made it to the big leagues. He did play in the White Sox system during his time in the minors, and he did play for one of the most noteworthy minor league teams that there have ever been. As Maldonado stays alive, and that's the 1994 Birmingham Barons. And why is that team noteworthy, you're asking? For those who don't know, it's because the greatest basketball player of all time played on that team, and Michael Jordan.
I was going to say, Larry Bird did not play baseball.
Is that who you have as your GOAT? 2-2. Fouled back. And we all know Larry Bird is one of the greatest to ever play. I think even Larry Bird would cede that to Michael Jordan, though.
No, it was certainly a great connection. Of course, Red Sox fans are well aware. The manager of that team was Terry Francona.
2-2 lined up the middle, a base hit. So first hit of the game for Cam Maldonado, and it's the first multi-hit inning for Northeastern today. They have 2 on with 1 out.
Yeah, good piece of hitting here. This is a really nice at-bat by Maldonado. He fouled off a couple of pitches. That was the 8th pitch of that battle. Stayed on it. Good contact up the middle. Not a cheapie at all. And the Huskies a little bit of something. That's what they want to try and go for. Try and take something to hang their hat on from this game. Because right now it is really not much at all that Northeastern can look back at this game and say, well, at least we accomplished something even if we didn't come out on the right side of the scoreboard. You know, Mike Lavin told us before the game that Kansas State game, even though they came back from a 7-0 deficit, turned it into an extra inning game. No moral victories, silver linings.
Could be another double play, though. Beckstein hustling down the line, but he can't beat out the relay throw. So it's a 4-6-3 double play to end the bottom of the 7th. Another twin killing for Northeastern on the offensive side of things. Their third of the game. We go to the 8th. It's 11-0 UNCW. New pitcher on the mound for Northeastern. It's the right-hander Carson Walsh, a sophomore. So he is now the 7th pitcher of the game for Northeastern. And the reason there have been 7 pitchers is because UNCW has just been in full control today. And Randy Hood has to love what he's seen from his Seahawks today. You see that bottom part there, teammate of Michael Jordan. He played on that 1994 Birmingham Barons team alongside Michael Jordan. We had a chance to talk to him about that experience. That was his final year in the minor leagues before he went into the coaching ranks. But what a cool experience to be in the minors and to play in front of so many fans and all the fans that wanted to see MJ out on the baseball diamond. And Randy Hood got to be a part of that experience.
Yeah, he said he could probably write a book with the number of stories that he has from that season, he and his teammates. And said he probably won't, but he's certainly got great memories built up. As you take a look at the new Northeastern pitcher, Carson Walsh, the sophomore from Sterling, Massachusetts, is coming on. Walsh, a 6-foot, 185-pounder. And here he is, a guy who has not been used all that often. In fact, this is, those numbers were there, but this is the first time we've seen Walsh pitching this season. He did pitch in 1 game last year. Worked an inning against Hartford, and now here he is pitching for the first time in 2024.
Again, 7th pitcher of the day for Northeastern, as that one is ripped foul down the right field side by John Newton. UNCW has scored 11 runs on 10 hits. They've used 3 home runs today as well. Newton himself is 1 for 3 as he takes one out of the zone, 1 ball and 1 strike. And you mentioned this in the bottom of the 7th inning when we were talking about Randy Hood and playing with Michael Jordan on that 1994 Birmingham Barons team and how Terry Francona was the manager of that team, as that's yanked foul, which just makes that 1994 team even more interesting, that you had Michael Jordan on it, and then the manager was Terry Francona, one of the best modern-era managers in baseball history. Of course, the guy that was at the helm when the Red Sox won in 2004 and broke the 86-year curse. But he had some interesting quotes about Michael Jordan on the baseball diamond and, what he thought of his time, playing baseball. And there was a great 30 for 30 that came out, Jordan Rides the Bus, that really got into his time playing in the minor leagues. And Terry Francona really believed if Michael Jordan stuck with baseball that he would have made it to the big leagues. As we have a strike 3 call in the inside corner, Newton down, and there's one out here at the top of the 8th inning.
Good pitch here by Carson Walsh, making his first appearance of the year, and he picks up his 2nd collegiate strikeout. Just gets that over the inside corner. He's got a little bit of a funky delivery, caught Newton off guard, and how about 10 strikeouts for Northeastern pitchers? That matches the strikeout total from Sales today.
Which just goes to show how good RJ Sales was. He tossed 6 shutout innings and allowed just 3 hits, all singles. He did walk 3 as well, but the 10 strikeouts, a new career high.
Yeah, there were a lot of interesting characters on that Barons team. You know, Ray Durham was a prospect on that squad before he came up with the White Sox, and he had a productive major league career. Even had a guy who was at the end of his career making a rehab appearance. Steve Sachs played on that squad. Chris Snopek. Bunch of guys who ended up going to the big leagues, and you know, it would have been a pretty interesting team even without the presence of Jordan. But you know, I thought that Jordan, for a guy who hadn't played baseball in so long, some of the numbers that he did produce, while he didn't hit for a high average, and I think he had a lot of strikeouts, but he had a fair number of doubles, I remember, and you know, obviously had the great speed as well.
Yeah, he stole 30 bases that year. He had 3 home runs. He had a .202 average.
I mean, you and I have both been in pro ball on the broadcasting side, and you know how difficult it can be, even at single A and double A, how really talented the guys are, even if they're not all that honed yet to be big league players. But there's a lot of talent, and to hit over 200 in double A after having never been in there is impressive enough. As another looking strikeout here for Carson Walsh. He might be the lone guy that has a highlight day today.
Yeah, 2 up, 2 down here in the 8th inning. So back to the top of the card here in Jack Kroom. This is his 6th plate appearance of the day. He's 1 for 4 with a double and a hit by pitch. That's taken for a strike on the outside corner. The Duxbury, Massachusetts native delivers one outside.
Carson Walsh had a brother that plays for UMass, Christian Walsh.
Popped up foul, left side, out of play.
He's one of a couple of Walshes on Northeastern. There's Chris Walsh, who's a position player for the Huskies.
And he had a brother, Cam, that played for Northeastern from 2016 to 2019.
Yeah, that's Chris Walsh, whose brother Cam was a former Husky.
Count still at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Trying to put away Kroom for a 1-2-3 inning.
Yeah, got my Walshes mixed up. Carson Walsh from Sterling, Massachusetts, a sophomore. 1-2. That's foul tipped out of the glove there of the catcher, Bazo. So this is the first appearance for Carson Walsh this year. He made 1 appearance last year. So again, some run here today. And as you just mentioned, Alex, it would be a great highlight for him if he can deliver a 1-2-3 inning, even in a game like this with Northeastern down 11-0. 1-2. Low and in, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And Carson Walsh pitched at Worcester Academy for 3 years, also spent a couple of years at Wachusett High School.
Two lined into right center field. In comes Sirota. He slides and makes the catch. A web gem from Mike Sirota to end the top of the 8th inning. And how about Carson Walsh making his season debut, and he tosses a 1-2-3 inning. UNCW still ahead 11-0 as we go to the bottom of the 8th next. Solid-sized crowd on hand here at Freedom and Diamond in Brookline, Massachusetts. Place was a little bit more filled up at the start, but UNCW has an 11-0 lead. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning alongside Alex Vispoli. I'm Joe Weil. As we have a new pitcher on the mound for the Seahawks, it's the right-hander Mason Murdoch, a sophomore from Kannapolis, North Carolina. And he's another one of the tall pitchers that UNCW has. They have 9 pitchers who stand 6'4" or taller, and then 16 that are at least 6'3". And if you're wondering where Mason Murdoch falls in that, he's 6'5". So he's one of those 9 pitchers that's 6'4" or taller.
Yeah, I mean, you ask a question of Kelly Seacrest, the pitching coach, and head coach Randy Hood, do you have a type? And yeah, I think that they do. They like the big guys. And Murdoch, 6'5", 210 pounds. This is appearance number 11 this season. He last pitched against Towson on the 13th of this month. Scoreless inning. He's had 5 straight scoreless outings, totaling 4 2/3 innings. 7 of his 10 appearances this season, he has not given up a run. If you take out 1 bad outing against Air Force, his ERA this season would be just over 2.
Here's Mike Sirota. Takes one low, count at 1-0. Mike Sirota 1 for 2 today with a single, a walk, and a strikeout. But yeah, Murdoch has been spinning it pretty well with those 5 straight scoreless appearances. Rip and a miss, 1 ball and 1 strike. Mike Sirota, this was the numbers coming into the game, having reached safely in 112 of 124 career games here at Northeastern. So you can tack on 1 to both of those numbers, having reached base twice today as he takes a 1-1 pitch over the outside corner.
And you saw that other number hitting over 300 here. Now, the last 22 games, he was off to a tough start his first 10, but he's settled in. He's not exactly, lighting the world on fire, but he's been a solid hitter since those first 10 games, a 300 hitter. 1 hit today, 2 times on base today. So right now that batting average for the season has ticked up to 267.
And the on-base percentage is over 400, so that's another encouraging sign. Chopper to the left side. Kroom, Fields, throws to first in time. 1 out.
Another strong play there by Jim. Made it look routine over there at third base. Guy with plenty of experience over there at the hot corner. And Northeastern 5 outs away from a rare shutout.
Yeah, it would be their first of the season. First time that they've been shut out this year. Tyler McGregor, he's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. So a rare hitless game for McGregor, guy that's had 2 separate 11-game hitting streaks this year. Murdoch delivers. Cut and a miss there from McGregor. Alex Lane's on deck. He's also 0 for 3. Counted 2-1. Murdoch, one of those 31 North Carolina natives mentioned before that he's from Kannapolis, which has a minor league baseball team there. That's a strike. Inside corner, counted 2-2.
Yeah, Northeastern having a hard time trying to find the scoreboard, and it's just been rare the last few seasons. They have had a really good offense for a few years now.
Swing and a miss, strike 3, 2 up, 2 down. And McGregor down at strikes for the 3rd time today.
Now batting left fielder Alex Lane.
Good pitching by Murdoch after falling behind 2-1. There you see McGregor giving advice. This pitch just drops out of the zone. Good movement on it, vertical movement. Tough day at the office for a lot of these Huskies hitters.
Lane takes one low, count at 1-0. And Lane being one of those guys, he's 0 for 3 with a strikeout. He's also grounded out to short and flat out to center. That's a hopper foul outside of third. So I mentioned that there's a minor league team in Kannapolis, North Carolina. They're called the Cannonballers. They used to be the Intimidators.
Are they still a White Sox affiliate?
They are. They've been with the White Sox since 2001. Lined up the middle, and it gets a piece of Murdoch, and Lane ends up hustling an infield single out. Hopefully Murdoch is okay, as that throw to first was wide.
It looked like that got him on maybe the thigh or the hip or the rear end. Take a look here. Yeah, it looked like it went off the right cheek. Did well to get up and make a throw over there, but that'll go down as an infield hit for Lane, so he'll get on base here. Will not be a hitless day for him.
Here's Matt Brinker, who has a hit. He's 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. No extra base hits today, though, for Northeastern.
Yeah, that's the part that's been really impressive, is that even when they've made hard contact, it's not been in a dangerous spot in the ballpark. And a day where the wind is blowing out, Northeastern really has not benefited from that. The hits and the balls have been hit on the ground for the most part, and often right at fielders.
Two-0 pitch. Rip and a miss, 2-1. This is one of those rare offensive days for Northeastern. Over the last 2 seasons, they overhauled what they've done offensively after the 2022 campaign as Brinker takes another strike. They didn't hit a lot of home runs that year, and Mike Glavin decided that they wanted to change their offensive profile, a little less small ball, more home runs. And it worked out for them really well last year, making the NCAA tournament, as that one's just outside. And they've had another great offensive season this year, 8.5 runs per game coming into today's action. And top 40 in the nation in a lot of different offensive categories. 39th in average, 18th in on-base percentage, 34th in slugging. As that's bounced foul down the third baseway by Brinker. So, they'll likely fall here. Don't think I'm going out on a limb and saying that. However, 2 more games coming up against UNCW. And this is a team with an RPI that was at 36 coming into today's action. They have a lot of impressive out-of-conference wins. They beat teams like Georgia Tech and Boston College twice. 3-2. Line to third. Great play by Kroom to end the inning. Boy, what a defensive game he's had at the hot corner. And he's able to handle that hard smash to third. And that ends at the bottom of the 8th inning. 11-0 UNCW. As we head to the 9th right after this.
Moving on to the 9th inning here at Friedman Diamonds. Beautiful day other than the scoreboard for Northeastern. 11-0. Seahawks with the advantage. And they bring in a new pitcher, Hayden Smith, on the mound replacing Carson Walsh, whose season debut went well with 1 scoreless inning. And now it's Hayden Smith's turn to make his first outing of 2024. The junior from New York made 7 appearances, 1 start last year. Had an ERA of 7.36 over 7 1/3 innings. As a freshman in 2022, he pitched in just 1 game. So here he is getting into the contest. He'll face Aiden Evans, Tanner Thatch, and Alec DiMartino, the 2, 3, and 4 batters for Randy Hood's UNCW Seahawks, who are likely going to send Northeastern to a 2nd consecutive loss at home. Something that has not happened to Northeastern since the last time UNCW was here at the end of the 2022 season. That was a series in which UNCW came here to Friedman and swept away the Huskies in 3 games. And they're on the verge of making it 4 for their last 4 here in Brookline. Evans to shortstop. And he's thrown out by Muzakia. So 1 pitch, 1 out. Aiden Evans, a 2-hit day. He is 2 for 6 on a day that saw UNCW hit around in both the first and the third innings. So it's impressive, again, what Northeastern's done at home. Of course, last year they went 20-4 at home. This season, 9-1. And they have been really, really good here at their home ballpark. But UNCW cracking the code here, despite the long trip for the Seahawks. Ball 1 to Tanner Thatch, who's homered today and has hit a single. And he rips this one over to McGregor. He drops it and wins the race to first. So 2 ground ball outs for Hayden Smith.
It's been fun to watch pitchers like Nick Caniglio, James Maurice, Carson Walsh, and now Hayden Smith get quick outs and post zeros. And it hasn't been the case for Smith yet. He's not out of the inning. But Northeastern and these relievers have stemmed the tide over these last 3 2/3 offensive frames here for UNCW.
Smith finds the outside corner. You look at the score, 11-0, and in college baseball here the last couple of years, some teams and some conferences will apply that run rule where if it's past the 7th inning and the margin is 10 between the 2 teams, the game will finish early. But that has to be agreed upon before the game and has to be approved by the conference. And obviously that wasn't the case here today. We've seen it happen in some of Northeastern's games this season and some of UNCW's games where they've played 7-inning games that end after 7 or 8 innings because that margin. But usually doesn't happen here in the CAA. And it's interesting. It is a rule in the SEC. And you'll see that sometimes games between some of those SEC powers end early. That surprised me a little bit that it would happen in that conference, one of the best in college baseball, but not necessarily a rule that the Coastal has decided to utilize in conference play.
Yeah, especially a conference like that where it just means more.
Sometimes it means less, as in fewer than 9 innings. 5-pitch walk here to DiMartino, so it won't be a 1-2-3 frame for Hayden Smith as he walks for the 3rd time in as many plate appearances.
They use that rule in the ACC as well, and Boston College last weekend played Wake Forest, and they used that rule in the series opener of that series.
A lot of times that won't get communicated to the broadcast booth as the runner takes off on the pitch in the dirt, and getting down to second base in plenty of time there is DiMartino. Should be a wild pitch that allows him to move up. By the way, Northeastern has Jimmy Sullivan in behind the plate, and Chris Walsh is playing over at third base right now. Everybody else is still the starter in the game defensively here for Northeastern. But it's Jimmy Sullivan who's in there behind the dish. Those are 2 changes that just took place this inning. 1-1 here on Marsh, who has a 2-home run day, part of the offensive explosion for UNCW in this game. And they have been just keeping up what they've done here as of late. Mentioned 37 runs in the 3-game series against Towson, 8 runs against Wake Forest, and now 11 more runs here today. This is an offense that is starting to click at the right time of the season. 2-2 here on Marsh. One silver lining that we were talking about that Northeastern can at least hang its hat on, as you mentioned in the names, Caniglio, Maurice, Walsh, and now potentially Smith, scoreless outings. This is out of play. It stays 2-2 Looking ahead to Northeastern in the 9th inning, they'll have Goodman, his spot in the lineup, although it looks like it's going to be Chris Walsh, Sullivan, and then Muzakia. To 2, and we'll see the count go full. Teams will play again tomorrow, 1 o'clock, and then 1 o'clock again on Sunday. Starting pitching matchup, Jacob Schaefer is expected to go for UNCW against Avon Cabral for Northeastern, the Lynn, Massachusetts native. Ball 4, and so Marsh gets aboard. He has reached base every time up, all 6 times. Double, homer, homer, walk, hit batsman, walk. What a day for Trevor Marsh.
And that home run in the 3rd inning, that really helped continue to set the tone for UNCW. They went down 1-2-3 in the 2nd, and then he hits a home run in the 3rd. They end up scoring 5 runs that inning to turn a 4-0 lead to a 9-0 lead.
Here's another Seahawk who has not been retired today. Arndt has walked twice, been hit by a pitch twice, and has a base hit. So his official at-bat line is 1 for 1, and here he is in his 6th plate appearance of the day. Good day for the OBP here on the Seahawks. And now Smith is starting to labor here after 2 quick outs on 3 pitches to start the inning.
This is just one of those games for Northeastern you just have to wash away. And thankfully they come back here to play again against the Seahawks team in less than 24 hours.
One of Mike Lavin's favorite lines is, for certain situations, throw the numbers out. He said that last week with regard to some of the pitching numbers that his team had at Delaware with that wind howling out that seemingly forced every routine fly ball, turned it into a home run trot. This is going to be one that he's going to do exactly what you said. Try and flush it. Now 2-2 here on Arndt, and for UNCW, this is, I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better start to this weekend series. This is a series that both teams came in. No shortage of motivation. I think that both squads looked at this 3-game set as this is a real good opportunity to put your stamp on what type of season this is going to be. Who's going to be the team to beat the rest of the way? 1 game separated themselves, these 2 teams in the standings. And now it's going to be 2 games going into tomorrow, so Northeastern would need to win the series to match UNCW atop the CAA.
It's a statement-type game for UNCW. They won it all last year, and while Northeastern was picked first in the preseason poll, they're showing them, hey, we want to win it again. We have all the talent to do it.
2-2 again, and it's popped up. Third base side, and a chance for the new third baseman, Chris Walsh. And that retires the side. So runners left at first and second. UNCW has left 13, but they've scored 11. And now we'll try and close this one out. Back at Friedman Diamond, a new pitcher on the mound for UNCW as they try and get the final 3 outs in this one. They turn things over to Bromley Thornton, freshman right-hander from Wilmington, as He comes on to try and pick up the last 3 outs and send this game to its conclusion. Thornton is listed as a two-way player. And this season on the mound, he has made 4 appearances. Thornton, no record, an ERA of 3.86. He's given up 1 run on 3 hits in 2 1/3 innings with 1 walk and 1 strikeout. Batters hitting .333 against him. He last pitched against Towson over the weekend, went 1 inning scoreless, 1 strikeout, 1 hit. He threw just 8 pitches, and now he'll go to work against Chris Walsh, Jimmy Sullivan, and Carmelo Muzakias. Those 3 are the names due up in the order. We'll see if we have any pinch hitters here for Mike Glavin's squad. He replaces Mason Murdoch, who went 1 scoreless inning, gave up 1 hit. But no pitcher has been touched up on the mound for UNCW today. You see the full season numbers on the freshman Thornton. And so here is Chris Walsh. First at-bat for the second Walsh to enter the game for Northeastern. Mentioned Carson Walsh pitched a little bit earlier. And so Chris Walsh takes ball 1. This is the 3rd game that he has played in this season. Debuted off the bench against Monmouth on the 29th of March. Has since gotten into another game on the recent road trip here for Northeastern. And he cuts through the second offering here from Thornton. Series mentioned continues tomorrow against UNCW for Northeastern with Avon Cabral, and then they've got Wyatt Scotty pitching on Sunday, and he will likely be going up against Zane Taylor. Two balls and a strike here on Walsh, a day that Northeastern has managed just 6 singles and no runs. Three and 1 here on Walsh. You know, for the Huskies, if they don't push a run across the plate, it will end a long streak of avoiding a shutout. Swing and a miss. The last time Northeastern was shut out, you've got to go back a couple of seasons. They have played 103 games since the last time they were blanked. Payoff pitch coming up, and it's ball 4. Leadoff batter gets on. Just the second, make it the 3rd time in this game for Northeastern. And that is the 4th walk received by the Huskies. Brings up Jimmy Sullivan. Sullivan this season batting .294. He is 5 of 17 offensively with a couple of runs batted in. And the pitch gets away. Up to second base goes Walsh on the wild pitch. So Northeastern gets a man into scoring position as Jimmy Sullivan stands in. Sullivan started to see the bat heat up a little bit. Delaware series, he was 2 for 2 with a double and an RBI. He did make an appearance off the bench against Kansas State on Wednesday. Was 0 for 1. Was hit by a pitch. 1-1, the count here on Sullivan. Replaced Gregory Bazo, who was 0 for 3. And that's upstairs from Thornton. The last time Northeastern was shut out was May 19th, 2022 at Delaware. It was a 4-0 loss. Northeastern went all 60 games last year without getting blanked, the first 36 games this year, and the final 7 games of 2022. So it's been 103 consecutive games that they've scored a run in. And that is perilously close to ending, although they do have a man in scoring position with nobody out. Thornton's 3-1 is socked high in the air out to center field. Marsh backs up on it. He makes the catch. Tagging from second is Walsh, and he'll get into third base. So the Huskies get a runner over to third for the second time today.
Now batting shortstop Carmelo Muzakia.
So there is still time here with Muzakia coming up, trying to avoid that first shutout in nearly 2 years. Muzakia, one of the few guys who can say, I had a pretty good day out there. He's 2 for 3. He's been on base all 3 times. Single to left is single to center, and he reached on a throwing error by the second baseman. Well, this one started off in UNCW's direction, continued as this goes to the backstop. Walsh coming home, and he scores. And Northeastern keeps that run-scoring streak alive. Bet the only drama left in this one. They will not see their 103-game streak broken, as they've made it 11-1 on the wild pitch. 2 wild pitches for Thornton after the walk. And it would be appropriate if that's the only run the Huskies scored. It was because of a UNCW mistake. Northeastern really hasn't been all that threatening offensively today, Joe.
But they haven't been shut out, or they're not going to be shut out. And at this point, Northeastern will take that, but try to wipe the slate clean, thinking about the rest of this game tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, they can look at this game and say, hey, over the last 4 innings, we outscored them.
There you go.
Find something. Although there is probably, as the count now goes to 3-0 on Muzakia, the base is clear. Imagine there's going to be a pretty interesting discussion that Mike Lavin has with his team, not only because, you know, sometimes you lose a game lopsided fashion, but this will make it 3 consecutive losses for Northeastern, and you haven't played the type of game that they've become accustomed to, and this is not the time in the season where you want to go into a prolonged slump as a team.
Well, and especially against this team, because if you want to win the CAA regular season championship, this right now is the team you have to go through because of what they did last year, winning the regular season title, the tournament title as well, and having another great year in conference play.
Cam Maldonado showing bunt. I'm not quite sure why. Takes ball 1. 1 for 3 today, Maldonado, and Muzakia on base safely 3 times, and in total 4 times today. And this one goes off the glove of the catcher, Arndt, into the backstop. Up to second base goes Muzakia, and we'll see if that's a wild pitch or a pass ball. It was well off the target for where that pitch was supposed to be. Grabbed a lot of glove there from Arndt. But it does move the runner up to second base. That is ruled a wild pitch, so it's the 3rd of the inning for Thornton. And there's a strike. Ends a string of 6 in a row out of the zone.
Good take there by Maldonado. And this is an opportunity this game. He had a single in the 7th inning, hit the ball pretty hard on that single. And for the season he's had to finish out this game, try to get the momentum carrying forward into tomorrow.
2-2, or rather 3-2 here on Maldonado. Chance for a multi-hit game for the Wolcott, Connecticut native. Ball 4. 3rd walk of the inning.
Boy, that breaking ball had some break to it, though. Maldonado thought that was going to hit him, but it broke late. It just missed the inside corner, though.
And it looks like in a 10-run game, we're going to have a pitching change. Take a look at the upcoming schedule here for Northeastern. Tomorrow and Sunday against UNCW, and then no games in the midweek for Northeastern in the next couple of weeks. A home series against Elon on the radar, and then North Carolina A&T to start the month of May. Got a pitching change here at Friedman Diamond. Tell you about the new pitcher in just a moment when we come back. It's the Huskies on the board, but down by 10.
It took forever.
The new pitcher is Cody Benton, right-hander from Cerro Gordo, North Carolina. Redshirt senior, the brother of teammate Cole Benton. And you see the numbers on him this season. 7 innings. He's struck out 11 and only walked 1 in those 7 innings. Just 2 earned runs allowed on 4 hits. Batters are hitting 160 against him. And surely Randy Hood was hoping to finish out the game with Bromley Thornton, but having a hard time throwing strikes, so it's Benton, one of their more reliable guys in the bullpen, trying to pick up the final 2 outs.
Yeah, Thornton ended up throwing 22 pitches, only 7 of which in the zone. So he turns to Benton to close it out, Cody Benton, and we'll see if he can do it. But nice to see Northeastern score 1. We'll see if they can tack on some more. And Cody Benton's older brother, Trey, he ended up pitching at East Carolina before getting drafted in the 19th round by Cleveland in 2019. So it's a pitching family.
And now it is Cody picking up the baton here, facing Luke Beckstein. Let's take a look at the schedule coming up here for UNCW. They had that midweek game against Wake, neutral site game, games here against Northeastern, and then Charleston Southern on Tuesday. And then a road series against William & Mary. UNCW's played a lot of home series in conference to this point, but now they're starting to get on the road, and this is the start of a tough little stretch for them as far as conference foes. Northeastern, one of the top teams in the conference. Then William & Mary is currently in 4th place in the CAA.
Yeah, they're 8-4 in CAA action this year, entering the slate today.
And then you've got Campbell, who, in the non-conference was one of the best teams not only in the conference, but in the country. They had at one point an RPI in the teens. 1-1 here on Luke Beckstein. 0 for 2 with 2 walks today. So this is kind of a prove-it stretch in the conference for UNCW. They lost 2 of 3 to Charleston, who's currently in 3rd place in the conference. So this is a big confidence booster because you mentioned those sweeps that they had. They were against some of the lower-level teams in the CAA, and for Northeastern as well, they have not played the real iron of the conference to this point. That pops in and out of Arndt's glove. Runners start to take off, but then head back. 3-1 on Beckstein.
Yeah, to that point, Alex, this UNCW team swept Elon. They're 4-8 in CAA play entering today. They swept North Carolina A&T, also 4-8 in conference action. Then they swept Towson, who's 3-9.
3-1 pitch. Beckstein taking seemingly all the way there. 3-2. Northeastern has hit into 3 double plays today, including one off the bat of Beckstein. A 4th would end this game. Payoff pitch. Instead, it's ball 4, and that's the 4th walk of the inning, which is far from how Randy Hood wanted this game to end. He was hoping for a quick and easy 9th inning in a frame that started 11-0. Now Mike Sirota will bat.
As we said before, a couple grand slams are right back in it.
Sorota's gone deep twice this season. Northeastern has just one grand slam. Had a lot of bases loaded opportunities this season and in this game. They've left the bases loaded twice in this game. But as a team coming in, they're hitting lower than 250 with the bags packed, which is notable because as a team coming into the game, they were up over 300 as a squad. So pitchers have been able to bear down against Northeastern in these types of situations. 2-0 on Beckstein, on Sirota, who's 1 for 3 with a walk. And it's 2-1. You figure Benton maybe didn't take as long as he usually does to warm up coming into the game. Kind of an emergency spot here, so still trying to feel himself out. 2-1 is hit hard through the left side, and this will bring home at least one. Muzakia comes in to score. He's the only one as everybody moves up 90 feet. The Huskies do get a hit with the bases loaded and cut the gap to 9.
And Mike Sirota, a nice day at the plate, so he's 2 for 4 now with a walk. And as he tries to build his way back to the player that everybody thought he would be coming into the season, you'll take that line, and again, hopefully it transfers for the rest of the series.
Here's Tyler McGregor, who'd love a little bit of a boost at the end of a tough day for him. He takes ball 1. 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts and a double play he's hit into. Outfield plays deep for McGregor. Now, one thing about Northeastern is that they are relentless, and they only have 2 outs to try and make up 9 runs. So odds certainly not in their favor, but UNCW could learn a little bit more about what this Huskies offense is like because they've been a team that has come back on squads late in games. This would take the cake, though.
It's not to say it was all that hard, but he did have to range to his left, and he calmly fielded it and threw it to first for the second out.
McGregor does get an RBI for the effort. Here's Alex Lane off the end of the bat into center field. That's down for a hit. Beckstein scores. Sirota will come in without a throw. It's a 2-run single for Alex Lane, his second hit of the day, up to 57 RBIs on the season, and Northeastern's made it a 5-run 9th inning.
Got it off the end of the bat, that being Lane, and driving in 2 to add to his RBI total. Not all that hard hit. Usually when Alex Lane records hits, they're hard hit, but he'll take that one, and now the deficit's at 6.
So the Huskies have sent 9 to the plate as Matt Brinker fouls off the first pitch. So Bromley Thornton's line is done. He went 1/3 of an inning, no hits, 3 runs on 3 walks. And he also had 3 wild pitches. The Beckstein and Sirota runs charged here to Benton. 0-2 on Brinker, went chasing. One strike away, the 0-2 coming from Benton. Got him swinging. And UNCW polishes off a dominating effort here in Game 1 of this 3-game critical series in the CAA. They jump out to an 11-0 lead through 5 innings and survive a 5-run 9th to win by 6 here at Friedman Diamond.
Yeah, the final score probably doesn't do full justice for just how in control UNCW was today. They jumped down to a 4-0 lead in the top of the first inning, then added on 5 more in the third, and they pick up a huge win against Northeastern to start off this 3-game set.
The UNCW was ferocious offensively early on. They had 10 men come to the plate in the first inning. 9 more men came to the plate in the third. They scored 9 of their 11 runs in those 2 frames. Took advantage of some Northeastern mistakes defensively and on the mound. And never look back here as they hold on here in the 9th inning despite a little bit of drama in the final frame. And for UNCW, what a statement. They had big series wins against, as you mentioned, some of the teams that are in the lower end of the standings, but here they get the job done against the CAA preseason favorite today.
And they smacked 3 home runs, one of which being a solo shot by Tanner Thatch. He hits his 21st home run of the year. That ties a UNCW single-season mark, but also Trevor Marsh had a great day at the plate. He reached base in all 6 of his plate appearances and smacked 2 home runs. Really the star of the show offensively for UNCW, but they bang out 10 hits and end up scoring 11 runs and pick up a convincing win against Northeastern.
The winning pitcher was R.J. Sales. He improves to 7-2 this season, leading the CAA in victories. The loss to Northeastern starter Jake Igliotti, just the 2nd defeat of his college career. He drops to 4-2. It took 3 hours and 6 minutes to play this one as the Seahawks win their 7th in a row. They improved to 11-2 in the conference, 25-13 overall. Northeastern loses its season-high 3rd consecutive game. They've lost consecutive games here at home for the first time in a long time, and they dropped to 27-10 overall, 9-4 here in the CAA. Both teams back out there tomorrow, 1 o'clock start time. Hope you're able to tune in. For our great crew here at Friedman Diamond, my broadcast partner Joe Weil, this is Alex Vespoli with the final score for the final time. It was UNCW 11, Northeastern 5. Enjoy the rest of your Friday evening.